Welcome back, Trash Talkers. We got a short turnaround for this pay-per-view fight. So we're back for only 3.5 weeks. Episode number 4, Trash Talk with Devin. I'm with my partner in crime, Seth King Khan. So let's get to it. First of all, we were doing a little pre-drinking before this, and Seth had told me that he hasn't drank since Sunday. We're filming on Thursday.
Yeah.
And this brings me back to our first episode where Chuck told me that he was watching our podcast and you said Chavez had a drinking problem. So you went 3 days without drinking and are applauding yourself?
Yeah.
That's what's happening?
Yeah, that is exactly what's happening, Trash Talkers.
Are you regretting starting this at the point that we did? You know?
Well,
last episode I gave you a birthday shout out, and this episode I'm immediately coming at you.
Well, let's hope this doesn't become a trend. Start off with a roast of Seth King Khan.
Anyway, so next I bring in Kevin Hart, who... no, I'm just joking.
Listen,
all right,
Kevin Hart.
It's great to have you on tonight. What do you got to say about this drunk? But, okay, anyway, so...
Drunk. Such a harsh word.
So, we've been back to Fight Island since UFC 253. The fights have been completely electric the entire time we've been there. So one of my thing I noticed like yesterday, but I thought I've heard them say it beforehand, but I noticed it yesterday. Was Nelk, one of my favorite YouTube channels, is traveling to. They're in Las Vegas right now. They're posting videos of them getting COVID-19 swabs up their nose. And they said they're on their way to Fight Island right now. And I don't know how that's possible because I know no fans are in the arena. But if we're able to get a prank on Fight Island or within the fights within the UFC, this is going to be the greatest thing ever to watch on that channel. Like, I've been following them since they were doing like singing pranks in Ontario colleges or universities, and the fact that they're on Fight Island, like potentially pranking the UFC, is just absolutely mind blowing with the like amount of pranks. It's for me, it's like it's a fanboy moment, that's for sure. And I really hope if they can pull some type of prank there, it's going to be epic. It's gonna be amazing. But as for Fight Island, we move on. I want to do a recap of a couple fights that we had. First, starting off, we've got the fights that were UFC 253 itself, September 26th, that we predicted last time. So one that I wanted to say first off, and I don't know if I got the video, but I want to get it up real quick, was Jake Matthews defeating Diego Sanchez. And I know Diego Sanchez is one of Seth's favorite fighters. So, I just wanted to play this.
Means he's got it.
I don't know if I can get this up on camera. Just one second. Bear with me, please. Because I want to make sure that I have it on camera. So I'm going to show it to Seth first and foremost. And then I'm going to show it to the camera for those of you who haven't seen it. Because I want to make sure that you guys have... So basically, Diego Sanchez, I don't know, I forget if it was the second or the third round, but he came out and he tried to recreate the Jorge Mas. He tried to recreate the Jorge Masvidal fight. where he knocked out Ben Askren. You know, like the 5-second knockout, which should have been 3 seconds, but he ran up and he needed him that. So Diego Sanchez tried to. I'm just gonna show you, okay? All right.
He can't hold himself together.
UFC. Official protein snack of UFC.
So that was Ben Askren, and then the bottom is
Official protein snack of
The complete miss.
okay. I'm gonna try and show that. 1 sec. So this is.
It's like a meme.
So watch the top first, and then here comes Diego Sanchez.
It's like those memes you see on social media. What you think you're doing and what you're actually doing. Or what your parents think you do and what you actually do.
So,
That's my guy.
yeah, so Jake Matthews defeated Diego Sanchez. Very clear decision. On that same card, Brandon Royval, he had a dominant victory and submission over Kai Kara France. Basically wrapped his legs around him, put him into a guillotine. But he was very, very dominant, and he got the eyes on him for sure. So Cody Garbrandt versus Devin Figueiredo, November 21st, main event of that card, that fight night card. That obviously drew some eyes, so it was upsetting. Cody Garbrandt, he has a bicep injury, he had to pull out that fight. So they were either looking for a replacement, or they were looking for like a replacement fight, or they were looking for a replacement fighter for that. But the flyweight division, there, with Joe Benavidez losing, Henry Cejudo retiring, and Mighty Mouse moving to 1, there's really not, like, there's nobody for Devin Figueiredo. So Cody Garbrandt coming down from 135 to fight for the 125 title is the most exciting shit to happen to the division in the last year. Because obviously Cejudo moved up for 1. Cejudo dominated the 135-pound division before he left, and then he left. Benavidez was the only competition for Cejudo at that point. Benavidez got his ass kicked completely by Figueiredo, and who does that leave? It leaves somebody coming down to fucking make the step, Cody Garbrandt. And Cody Garbrandt coming down, and he injured himself, like, obviously, I think Figueiredo's waiting for him, because at that point that card is kind of up in the air at the moment. So Devin Figueiredo, I don't think we're going to get a replacement fight for him. I'm pretty sure he's waiting for Garbrandt, and I'm pretty sure he's been pretty adamant on that decision. So we'll see.
The thing is about that is, like, what I've, from watching boxing and whatnot, is some people struggle from such a big weight loss to where they can't really put a good fight out, which they would have if they were at a more comfortable weight.
And that's
some guys
what I said.
Struggle to stay so light,
and
then they end up moving up a weight. So when you're cutting down,
and that's what I said.
Don't have as much.
That's what I said about Cody. You've seen me stand beside Cody Garbrandt.
Right.
We didn't train together, but Cody Garbrandt was in the gym when I was at Team Alpha Male for the week, and Cody standing beside me. I'm a 125er. Cody standing beside me looks like a monster. He is so much bigger than I am.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, a lot bigger than I am. So for him to cut down to 125 was scary, especially because he was a lot bigger than TJ Dillashaw when they stood face to face on the Tough. And TJ Dillashaw struggled to make 125, and you seen what happened to him. He got completely cleaned up when he went to fight Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo, I believe, is on a different level than Devin Figueiredo, but he got cleaned when he went down to that division. He had no chin. And that was TJ Dillashaw, who Cody Garbrandt fought, and Cody Garbrandt lost against twice. Given the fact that TJ Dillashaw may or may not have been on steroids at the time, whatever speculation against that.
Right.
These are two guys, and Cody Garbrandt is much bigger than he is, cutting down the same weight. But I wanted to see the fight regardless because it's the only fight that actually excited me at flyweight at this point. With everybody retiring and moving on to different organizations, it's the only fight that actually excited me in the UFC at that weight.
Then you got
and
a
it's
guy
canceled.
coming down from a bicep injury, then losing weight on top of that.
Yeah, so the only thing... So Figueiredo, I think he's waiting for Garbrandt. So it seems the replacement flyweight bout for that might be, as we were talking about, and the whole... I think it might be Brandon Moreno versus Alex Perez for right now. I think that might be the fight that they're going to make for 255, and we'll see. The next fight on that card of UFC 253, which we predicted, was Jan Blachowicz against Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes got absolutely outclassed in the co-main event. He won the light heavyweight title, which was vacant from John Jones vacating the title.
Yep.
He ended up knocking him out in the second round. Reyes arguably beat John Jones in their fight that they had against each other. So most people thought that Reyes was going to be the favorite in this, and he was heavily favored on the betting odds. So yeah, it was basically going into that. I said it on our third episode. I did not expect that at all. I thought he was going to clearly. I think I said, and I don't remember completely, but I think I said Dominic Reyes would clearly win by decision, and he got crushed within those 2 rounds. He could not land anything, and you think about it because Jan has a lot of losses against even guys that have lost to Daniel Cormier, other guys who have lost to John Jones as well. You don't expect a guy like that to perform like he did, but he did. And now the question is, does he perform like that in every other fight? Does he hold the belt? We don't know.
Is he a paper champion or is this guy for real? That's the question.
A paper champion over, well, arguably, and I know a lot of people are on both sides of this. I'm on the side with John Jones. Mm-hmm. Dominic Reyes beat John Jones 3-2 rounds, but a lot of numbers say he did. I say he didn't.
Okay.
But numbers say he did. And people say numbers don't lie. But numbers say he didn't beat John Jones. Numbers say he beat John Jones. I say he didn't beat John Jones. But when you're that close, obviously they always say as well, people say different things. Numbers beat John Jones, or numbers don't lie. But also you got to beat the champ clearly to be the champ. That's
and
the other saying
too. You gotta defend your title.
There's a lot of sayings.
Another one is, even if you beat a champ square, I know this is in boxing, probably applies to MMA as well. If you beat a champion, just say he knocked him out, right? Just say that happened. You need to defend your title at least once to show that you are a champion.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
You already have the belt. You are a champion. You are
yeah.
Even if you lost the very next fucking fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not.
You still go down in the record books as one-time holder of.
And where
let's
I will
just say UFC heavyweight
where I will understand that is where you're coming from on that is Jan Blachowicz. Say he beat Dominic Reyes, but this is where I get this is where I get a little spacey off the whole situation. Is Dominic Reyes arguably, whether I want to say it, whether anyone wants to say it, arguably beat John Jones in his fight. Jan Blachowicz whooped his ass in their title fight. So Jan is the light heavyweight champion of the world. Nobody can fucking take that from him. But he has a history of losing fights to people who are not as big of contenders. So if Jan goes out in his next fight and gets whooped,
Then
your quote comes into play that he did this, but he just beat a guy who arguably beat John Jones for his light heavyweight title. So how can you take that away from him? You know what I mean?
right.
So
Well,
I'm like, basically all I'm getting to with that is he won the fight so decisive and clearly. He's the champion. So what's next for him is basically I have right here both John Jones and Israel Adesanya, who Israel Adesanya we know just fought Paulo Costa. And oh my god, we're gonna get to that soon because he's on. Yeah, he's coming up, but well, he was the main event of that card, so he's coming up next, and I want to talk about that like more in detail. But John Jones has said in his tweets, "Why don't I come down, or why don't I come back to lightweight and take the belt real quick?" Something along those lines. And then Israel, because him and John Jones were mouthing off, he came back on Twitter and said, "Why don't I move up to light heavyweight and take that belt real quick?" or something like that as well. Along those lines, so they're both doing this speculation about taking. Nobody's showing Jan Blachowicz the respect he deserves after just completely tearing apart Dominic Reyes. And
if I was that guy, I would have said, "Jones, let's do a drug test first and see who passes that." Like, fuck.
Oh, and you gotta say it to Izzy too, though. After his fucking titty was drooping down to his belly button, but. So anyway, so yeah, no, I want to. What is next for Jan Blachowicz? That's the biggest thing. So yeah, they both said they would take his belt. Does he fight either one of them, or does he defend the winner of Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira? And in my opinion, my personal opinion, I think John Jones and Izzy. John Jones, he's been preparing for heavyweight. I think John Jones come back down to light heavyweight for one fight against Israel Adesanya when he comes up to your weight class, have that super fight, make a ton of money, and Jan Blachowicz fight the winner of Thiago Santos versus Glover.
I actually agree about that.
Thank you.
I actually agree on that. That makes the most sense.
And whether my thought process that goes a little farther than that, because I know this thinking into the future like years.
Gotta think outside of that box.
So Jan ends up, let's just say Jan defeats the winner of Thiago Santos versus Glover, and Izzy wins that fight against John Jones. I think the biggest fight would be Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. That would be a huge fight at 205 for the actual title, because Izzy could become a 205 champion. But if John Jones wins that fight against Izzy and Jan still wins, let's just speculation, Thiago and Glover never win anything.
Right.
Speculation. So, Jan Blachowicz wins that title, keeps his title, defends it. John Jones wins against Izzy, which is likely going to be the favorable odds that John Jones does win, because he's training for heavyweight right now, and they'd be fighting at 205, which is out of Izzy's range, I guess, for right now anyways, because he's a very small guy. John Jones wins. I don't want to see him take the light heavyweight title again against Jan, because I want to see, if John Jones wins his super fight, I want to see him move up like he had planned and fight either a Francis Ngannou or fight a Stipe Miocic,
rather than stay down at light heavyweight and just add another
thing to
his resume.
The only reason I want to see John Jones at light heavyweight in his next fight is because Israel Adesanya is so dominant at his 185-pound division.
But then don't you're saying don't stick around there. Just
No.
after that, just move up. Don't try to go
He
after.
planned to move up. He started to move up. Israel Adesanya became a super champion in everybody's mind. The way he defeated Paulo Costa and the way he's defeated everybody beforehand. They want to see John Jones versus Israel. Stay in your 205 division. Stop this weight gaining. Make one fight there. Make a super fight. Make tons of money. And move up to heavyweight. We don't need to see you fight Jan Blachowicz if he wins. Or Thiago Santos, who you already beat. Or Glover. We don't need to see any of those fights. We don't care about those fights. We need to see you fight Izzy and move up to heavyweight and fight Francis Ngannou or Stipe Miocic. But if Izzy actually beats John Jones, he needs to take that 205 title. But that brings me on to my next one. Speaking of Israel Adesanya, like I just said, he toyed with Paulo Costa in his main event. Pretty much like Costa was an average Joe. Pretty much like Costa's borderline murdered contenders in his last few fights. And for Israel Adesanya to walk in and do what he did to Costa was enough to say, hey, how about Israel Adesanya fights the greatest fighter to ever live, John Jones? That's pretty much what we're going to say.
A lot of people would debate that statement.
What, John Jones?
Yeah.
Who?
Someone would say GSP.
Yeah, okay.
Is one of the probably the greatest fighter of all time. Some people.
Okay.
There's
Hendricks, but yeah.
I've heard Hoist Gracie.
Yeah, no.
I have heard.
No.
He is a legend though.
Yeah,
right?
but not the greatest fighter to ever live.
Now I don't know if this guy was serious, but he said Khabib.
Khabib could be.
He could be.
But
could be.
But we're gonna get onto this later. But this is another Rocky Marciano situation. We're gonna get onto this because Khabib is 28-0 right now, and he says that after he fights against Justin Gaethje, he wants one more fight, and once he's 30-0, his dad told him to retire. If Khabib lives up to his dad's honoring, his deceased dad's honoring request, then...
And how old is Khabib right now?
I don't know exactly.
20s? Like mid-20s maybe?
I'll check. Yeah, Khabib... So basically, if his dad does not... his dad asked this, but one sec. Age. Okay. 32.
32.
So okay. It is
early 30s.
He is pretty
early
up there.
30s, yep.
But if he does go through with retiring like his dad had wished, it's a Rocky Marciano situation where I was telling you, but we're going to talk more about it later. Khabib could retire 30-0 even if he fights GSP and wins and retires 30-0, and he will be considered one of the best of all time, but he will not be considered the best of all time because he didn't stick around long enough to prove it. And that's what we're going to talk about with Rocky Marciano later on. But that's my thoughts on Khabib. John Jones and GSP are the two best fighters to ever live. And whether you want to say GSP or whether you want to say John Jones, that's up to you.
I'd go with St. Pierre myself, but
and
I'm Canadian, so...
With St. Pierre, the only differences between the two is I've seen St. Pierre lose in fights, and he's always made redemption on those fights. John Jones...
Like Muhammad Ali.
John Jones, you want to say he lost, he lost to Alex. Same thing. And he might have, the numbers speak it, he lost, but he came back and he knocked him out in the third round. And then people want to say he lost to Thiago Santos. People want to say he lost to his and who. He won every fight according to the judges' scorecards. And when you look back at it, John Jones is the greatest fighter to ever live. But it is what it is. GSP, John Jones, top two fighters to ever live. That's what I'm going to leave it at. And Izzy had a great enough performance to make himself put in that conversation of possibly the greatest fighters to ever live by getting the chance to fight John Jones in a weight class above. Even though Izzy is literally, this is how good Izzy is. He's the only person. And I'm sorry. I fucking hate Izzy. I fucking hate him.
That just sounded like you were riding him there.
No, I love Israel Adesanya as a fighter. He is such a great fucking fighter. Like, he's the only person in any weight class from 185 to 205 that can draw John Jones back and say, you gotta come back and fight me because I'm a fucking animal. But John Jones wanted to go up to heavyweight. Now he's thinking about coming back because of Izzy, this little skinny kid. Yes, he is, because Izzy is the fucking real deal. But I hate Izzy's fucking antics. He needs to grow the fuck up. You're 30 years old and you're supposed to be a role model for kids, and you're sitting there going out, knocking out your opponent, and you're dry humping him as he's knocked out. That was one of the most, and you know, I'm sorry, because
I was almost going to bring up, is he throwing chairs at a UFC bus like McGregor did?
No.
But I'd rather
my
client, if I was
so
a manager,
McGregor's not a role
chair.
model. Yeah.
A lot of people kind of might look at
McGregor is not a role model. He's not a role. Yeah.
In Ireland.
Ireland is drinking from like 3 years old, but okay.
Okay.
We go to boxing tournaments and the Irish guys are drinking the night before our fights. Irish is a whole nother level. They can do what they want while they're drunk, and we're gonna shut our mouths. That's all we're gonna do.
You Irish trash talkers, you.
But anyway, back to fucking Izzy, man. Like, no.
But when you dry hump your opponent, that's pretty disrespectful.
There's a difference between...
doesn't...
Conor McGregor has always kept his line straight. The time that Conor McGregor broke his line was when he went out and he said, Khabib. That was it. When Conor McGregor broke his fucking threshold and like broke through that wall of what was appropriate was when he was fighting Khabib.
Bash his religion or something like that.
No, he bashed his religion. You could hear it in his voice. Conor McGregor, he's always fluent. When his voice started to crack, you could tell that he was starting to be out of character.
Oh,
he was starting to be a complete asshole.
Yeah, started losing it.
And
kicked in.
That's when that shit happened. But Izzy needs to mentally grow up. Israel Adesanya, like he's 30 years old. You hear the way he talks on interviews, and he's just, and I hate to say it this way, but he's just not developed enough in the brain. We're on Trash Talk with Devin right now, and I'm not gonna fucking front. He's not developed enough in his own brain that he can comprehend what's being said to him and how he responds to it.
Failure to communicate they got going on then, or he does.
The best way I can explain this.
It's just the thing is he backs it up in the cage, right?
It doesn't.
He's a great fighter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
But in his mind, I guess that does matter to him.
Well, he should figure that out because
Because
backing up being an
Very
asshole in the
naughty.
cage. Backing up being an asshole while using your skills in the cage is not a good enough excuse for this day and age. Being in social media it's not a good enough excuse to be a terrible role model to every kid that looks up to you. No. And the best way I'm going to explain this is what just came out. So basically, when Israel Adesanya was brought this controversy to him, instead of apologizing,
like every other sports athlete does,
and said, hey, like, look, like, I got caught up in the moment, like, yeah, I humped my opponent, I'm sorry,
did something.
Instead of saying that, he called all of his fans homophobic.
Oh.
He said, you're homophobic for looking at it like that. We watched you dry hump him on the... If it was homophobic, you would be gay. We would be doing a hate crime to you, saying, Israel Adesanya was having consensual sex with Paulo Costa.
What did the
That's
guy's
homophobic.
corner act? What did they do?
The fight was over. You know how things go when a fight's over.
Climb in. You come
things get crazy. Every ref's waving his hands. People are jumping in. You don't know how to no corner. They're Brazilian. They don't speak English.
Okay, you remember the King of the Cage DVD set I have? This guy, he chokes out some guy first round, King of Cage or anything. He just after he's done, just throws him to the side and it's Don Fry, an MMA legend. He comes into the cage, he steps up to the guy. Next, he just shoves the fighter. He's like, blah blah blah, throw my fight around like that.
Well, and that's like we were getting to about Khabib and McGregor. Khabib McGregor, he did the same shit where the whole team came in and tried to fight McGregor, and he was popping them with left hands. But
that was crazy.
Anyways,
that was nuts.
Getting off of Izzy, I just think honestly, I love Izzy as a fighter. I hate him as a person, and for whatever reason, we got a low-level podcast right here. If Izzy ever watches this and gets upset about anything that was said, all I'm saying is it was a classless choice. And the way you spoke out about it was classless as well. And just be better. That's it. Be better. Be better. People are going to respect you. People are going to respect what your stances are as long as you go about it in the right way. But you did not go about it in the right way. Instead, you acted offended. You acted like a child, and that's the way you're going to get treated.
Absolutely.
So we're going to move on, but congratulations on everybody from UFC 253. Those were incredible fights. So we're going to move on to the October 3rd Fight Night card week after. So I just wanted this card I wasn't too big on. There were a couple good fights, but I just want to briefly touch up on the Fight Night main event. Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana. She went away with a 5-round very clear decision. And Holly Holm just looked absolutely amazing. She looked really, really good. And I was super happy for her to get the win. Besides that, Carlos Condit against Court McGee put himself back in the win column. Win column. I'm going to pull the Donald Trump here with my fingers when I'm trying to elaborate myself. Put him back in the win column. And it was a great battle, but it was actually Carlos Condit's first win since the last 6 fights, and it's his first win since 2015.
Oh,
so good for him.
5 years,
good for him because Court McGee is he is on the end of his career as well, but he's no slouch. So that was a very great fight and a very good win for Carlos Condit. That's for sure. You ever hear the Carlos Condit story about when he was with this is completely not even on my notes, but Carlos Condit, I just thought of this when he was with Bisping and he knocked out some guys in the military?
No.
So basically I'm not going to go into the whole story because I don't remember it exactly, but Bisping was talking about it him and Carlos Condit showed up to gym to kind of help out with military, I think it was the Marines, and a couple of the Marines guys were acting a little tough and this and that, and basically saying that they would do this, they would do that, and Carlos Condit stepped in the ring and knocked one of the Marines the fuck out. I think, don't quote me on that because I don't remember the story exactly, but I'm 99% sure it was Carlos Condit that I think Bisping was talking about.
Wasn't Bisping ex-British military or something like that?
I don't know. Yeah.
I know Paul Semtex Davis. Remember him? He's ex-English military.
Okay.
There.
Yeah, I don't know about Bisping. I'm not too sure, but what I do know is
whatever
they
happened to
said
that
they
other
went to a
fighter,
camp.
Danny the Shark Hardy. Yeah, the red,
Dan Hardy.
The red mohawk.
Dan Hardy is an announcer. Or no, sorry, not an announcer. He's an analyst.
He's an analyst now?
Yeah.
Dan Shark mask out there with the
Dan
red
Hardy
mohawk.
is one of the best analysts in the game.
Oh.
He breaks down everything perfectly.
Means you gotta
And
watch
and I
more
think
MMA.
one sec. I gotta bring it up because I think Dan Hardy actually
Semtex got kicked out. I know that.
Dan Hardy I think just called out Carlos Condit.
Well, he's going to fight him?
One sec. I don't know, but he called out.
Semtex got kicked out because I think it was Koscheck. He cheap shot him after the fight, punched him right in the face.
One sec. Yeah, no, I think like this was something like I don't want to say just because I don't know fully, but I thought I just seen something about like I got posted like earlier today that was like Dan Hardy, who is one of the greatest analysts, I think ESPN it might be, but he's that was only September 5th. Dan Hardy 38 says someone's gonna get it if he returns to MMA, and I'm almost certain he called out Carlos Condit earlier today, but I can't find the article. But we'll see. Yeah. And then last on that card was just real quick, Quebec's Charles Jourdain fought to a draw with his opponent. I can't pronounce his name, Joshua Coulibayo. But it was a tough fight. It was a good fight, but they fought to a draw there. We're gonna get back to October 10th's fight night card, but I have to use the washroom real quick, so I'm gonna let you do your thing. Talk about one topic, and then
we will go through the wrestling. Just the all right, trash talk is for any of you wrestler fans out there. WWE Clash of Champions has happened, and as you may know, every belt is defended. So only title fights during this pay-per-view. So let's get to it. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Lucha Libre House Party for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles. Sami Zayn defeated Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship belt. That was a triple threat stipulation, not stipulation. Strip clubs are closed. Anyways, Osaka defeated Zelina Vega by submission. Osaka retains Raw Women's Championship. Lashley defeats Apollo Crews to retain the U.S. Championship. As I said, all belts are on. The Street Profits defeated Andrade and Garza to retain their Raw Tag Team titles. Me, myself, could care less about these two tag teams. I really could care less about the Street Profits and Andrade and Garza. Osaka defeats Bayley, my girl, Bayley, by disqualification. Bayley returns her SmackDown Women's title. Why? Because you cannot lose your title if you are disqualified. You cannot. So you retain it. You either need to be pinned or submitted. Drew McIntyre defeated Orton ambulance match for the WWE title. This one I fucking hate it because this bullshit here. Bullshit help from HBK and Big Show. Before then, Big Show comes out, just out of nowhere, choke slams him. Then, later on, when my guy Orton, he's got Drew McIntyre, he just threw him right off the top of the ambulance. He's down, Orton's about to end it. He turns around, oh, kapoof. HBK, sweet chin music, throws Orton off. And Drew McIntyre gets the upper hand, boots him in the head, throws him in, shuts the ambulance. Ric Flair drives off with Orton. Reigns defeats Jey Uso to return his Universal title, TKO. And I put this like a scene from Rocky IV. His brother, because Jey Uso was just getting beat up.
Which Rocky IV scene though? Not Apollo.
Don't throw in the towel.
Really?
Yeah, it was like
that bad.
It made it look like it because Uso's brother comes out and he has the white towel in his hand, and no one outside, like, you don't have cornermen in the WWE with white towels.
Do they have crowds
on screen right now? Like on the screens, you have to pay.
So you see people's face going,
oh yeah,
oh, shit,
people are clapping, go woo, or Or you catch the occasional guy sleeping. Because it's that. Yeah, there's been a couple times on Raw, some guys are sleeping. That just shows what's going on.
Yeah.
But he comes out and he says, "Don't throw in the towel." And he throws in the towel. And that's what ends Universal Champions. And I'll get back to later.
Well, he says don't throw in the towel, but it's scripted, so they were going to throw in the towel. I'm sorry.
No, he's not.
I'm kind of sorry, but...
I will hold off till...
where are we, though?
The road.
No, was that a new... that was a completely different card?
That was WWE Clash of Champions.
No, but you don't have anything extra in there?
Nope.
Here? Okay.
This is the next topic. Don't shut my spot. I do that. It's my notebook.
All right. Anyways, okay, so we're back.
Anyways.
October 10th Fight Night card. First of all, Tracy Cortez, my new UFC crush. Oh my god. Beautiful.
That's your fifth crush, probably.
I'm allowed to have more than one crush in my lifetime, but okay. She ended up,
UFC crush.
She got her second UFC win by decision over Stephanie Edgar, and that's pretty much all I want to say about that, just because if you're watching this, I love you. Next of all, this is, and you watched this on my page, it was Joe Quinn, I think that's how you say his first name, Joe Quinn Buckley defeated Impa by second round KO as well. And this was the top 3, in my opinion, greatest knockouts of all time in the UFC. You remember this? You liked it, I think.
Was that the spin?
Yes, it was.
I gotta say that's what, like, maybe my favorite.
Favorite knockout of all time?
Just the way it, like, way it played out. Folks, Trash Talkers, if you haven't watched this.
Do you think it's bigger than Conor McGregor knocking out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds? Stylistically.
Yes.
See, so it's tough. It's tough.
Yes, and I say yes because
so for
I'm
people,
still questioning.
People who don't know this, basically, I'm gonna show it on video, but it was like, I was with Sage. We're hanging out, and Sage, my son. I was with Sage, my son, hanging out, and these fights, I assumed Impa was going to win by decision. So my grandma had it up on her TV, and I was out back, and she literally ran down the stairs to open up the back door to tell me that I have to come watch the replay because of how great of a knockout that was. And I came back, and I just could not believe my eyes. So what happened was he attempted to kick Impa's midsection with his left leg, which was caught in midair, and somehow he managed to balance himself enough to turn his right heel and get enough torque to throw a one-legged spinning heel kick that put Impa to sleep instantly, and his eyes rolled behind his head.
Amazing.
I tried to do this at home and at work with no man in front with no man in front of me trying to knock my head off and kill me, and I could not even find
I
the
can picture you trying to, like, square up with the wall and, like...
No, it was basically, I was trying to explain it to people of how it happened, and I threw my left leg, they caught it, and then I went, and then I go, and I turned my heel, and I try to throw this without even putting my foot down.
Like we said before, what you think you're doing, what you're actually doing.
So I'm going to show, you've already seen it, so I'm going to save the time from showing you. I'm just going to show the screen.
It's completely...
For anyone who hasn't seen it.
This is amazing.
Here we go. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was absolutely one of the...
When I
top,
watched that,
like I
I
said,
watched it 5 times in a row.
Top 3 greatest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Has to be. I watched it 5 freaking times, man. Just the way it happened. Just like he's done it 800 times before.
And he did say that, actually. He said in his interview that he's practiced it. And I go, in my head, I go, I have so many...
humble son bitch.
I have so many times to sit there and practice 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I'm never sitting there practicing a one-legged heel kick.
Yeah, who even thinks that? Or just like
he's
Buddy
gonna
that ran up the cage and kicked...
That wasn't a knock. Actually,
it wasn't a knockout.
So I brought up to somebody at work, and I go,
up.
and
like,
they go,
who practices
they go,
that?
they go.
Who
the
even
only,
thinks of that?
They go the only knockout better.
Parkour people.
Because UFC
Parkour.
portrays that fight with Perez. They portray that fight with Perez as something that was a knockout, but it wasn't. They went the distance.
He got right back up after that. It was just he looked like he was knocked
It's
out.
awesome, but they portray it as a knockout, so people think it's a knockout. When they stop the fight where he goes,
but
like
he got up.
So you can't. It's hard to. I wish that was a knockout. That would have been the greatest knockout of all time.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
But you can't include it as a knockout when he gets back up.
Oh no, of course not.
You just play it as a clip 1,000 times.
It's not even
Pettis'
TKO.
career.
They went the whole thing. That was the last WEC.
I'm actually surprised that the ref
UFC
didn't just
bought.
immediately go.
Well, the
like
way
this.
the guy went limp down.
You would have thought a ref would have went like this and started waving his hand. But anyways, so yes,
just too crazy.
Impa is top 3. You think it's the greatest? I think it's top 3 of all time.
It's just.
Besides that, though, Marcus Perez, who's famously known as showing up to the weigh-ins, painted as the Joker, was knocked out yet again in the first round. He has went 0-2 as the Joker.
And the Joker's not him, but I love the Joker from Batman. Like,
do you want to see that video or no?
What video?
Of him showing up as the Joker the first time?
Well, you can send it to me later.
Okay, alright.
Does he have the full suit?
No,
Old
it's just
school Joker, or is it?
He does the face thing where he turns around and he goes.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was kind of like good the first time. The second time he starts going like this, they get face to face, and he goes.
But then now
he got a little cringy.
But now he's becoming a joke because he's
went 0-2 with the Joker face. So,
maybe it's some bad
maybe
luck.
It's time to like hang it up.
I think so.
Not hang up the career, but hang up the Joker. Because he looked okay. He got knocked out in the first round, but he looked like he was potentially going to outstrike his opponent in the first half of that round, and then the Joker came in. So
can you imagine if he took it humbly and like, hey, what happened? Like, joke's on you.
Jokes.
And he just left the cage. Can you imagine?
Next up,
that'd be a meme for years.
Yeah,
it would.
Edson Barboza, our man, very dominant 3-round decision over Amir Khani, not the one you're thinking of.
Amir Khan.
I was waiting to say that to you. I knew you were going to go, Amir Khan.
Amir Khan.
He fought Amir Khan. No, he fought Amir Khani, who is absolutely a beast, but he couldn't get it.
No relation, by the way.
Edson Barboza's leg kicks and just ring showmanship was too much for Amir Khani to handle. And the biggest part of that card, Corey Sandhagen. Wow. Man, come on. He shocked the world knocking out Marlon Moraes in that main event that night. Basically, again, he did a spinning heel kick, but it was 2 legs. So he didn't get the knockout of the night for that. But it was 2-leg heel kick, and it was incredible. He said he practiced it for months. It was so unexpected.
See, these guys, like, okay, I practiced it for months, and then, so what puts you in, must be a mindset.
No, he didn't
thing.
say he practiced.
Must be a mindset thing to where you actually, I've practiced this,
okay,
and then I'm going to just try this in this fight. I'm just going to, I'm going to come out, like, we know one guy, he tried, then.
If I can spit it back to you real quick, it was, do you remember when I fought for my Ontario title? I didn't have the Ontario title. I was fighting the provincial championships, and I fought against I'm not gonna bring up his name because I'm not gonna put it like this is just for whatever.
Right.
But I fought in my first fight for the Ontario Championship, which I eventually won. But it was, I watched Floyd Mayweather against Ricky Hatton, and I told you this, right?
Mm.
I said Floyd Mayweather went and he started to roll back into the corner. He put his hands behind his back, and Ricky Hatton jumped in, and he backed up, clipped him, and Ricky Hatton fell into the ropes and knocked him down. So I practiced that for months. And the individual who I fought came in the same way. He was the same stance as Manny Pacquiao, and he came in the same way, and he went to throw a right hook, and I did the same thing.
Ricky Hatton.
I did the
Same stance as Ricky Hatton.
yeah, and I went to do the same thing that Floyd Mayweather did. I didn't have my hands behind my back, but I had them down by my waist, and I baited him, and I waited, and I backed up just an inch, clipped him, and he fell right through the ropes. And that's when I told myself before those championships for months, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn this. And you do it.
My big question is, who's the sparring partner that you practice that against for months? Okay, now just come in, boom, knocked out. Boom, knocked out.
It was probably you at the time.
I don't remember, and there's a reason why.
The mind can achieve.
It's a mindset, though.
Yeah.
Mind can achieve what it sees.
Yeah.
The mind can get that cheese.
Anyway,
when
so
it
yeah,
believes.
Corey Sandhagen, he did what he said for months, but he bounced back. The craziest thing about this whole fight, that I was talking to Paul too, actually, but he bounced back from a first-round submission loss to Al-Jameen Sterling. Sandhagen was actually the slight favorite. I don't know why, but he was a slight favorite against Marlon Moraes.
Is that betting odds or just
betting
odds?
Betting odds.
Okay.
Even though they didn't use MMA math because Moraes had knocked out Sterling, and Sandhagen got choked out by Sterling. So the betting odds use their heads because they didn't use MMA math, which they usually do, and I make a lot of money off of them the making decisions the way they do, but they normally make bad decisions when they're bringing up new up-and-comers into the UFC, and that's when you make your money.
And that's when you come in.
Not off of the established UFC veterans. They usually have a pretty good idea of that, but as far as when they make their odds off of up-and-comers, they do not make them well at all. So that's when you make your money. But anyway, so this is one occasion where they were established veterans. Even though Sandhagen, yeah, he doesn't have many fights, but he does have a lot of fights now up at that level. So yeah, he knocked him out second round, heel kick. It was impressive as hell. Nevertheless, I think Sandhagen, and you were saying this earlier about bad decisions, I think Sandhagen should fight Frankie Edgar. And the winner of Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar should fight for the title shot of who just got announced December 12th. Peter Yan versus Al-Jameen Sterling. Sorry, I blanked. I'm fucking talking too fast for my own brain. But he should... Peter Yan should fight Al-Jameen Sterling for the title right now. They both deserve it. And then next up, 100% is Al-Jameen Sterling versus Frankie Edgar.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, and so that was just the winner of... Yeah, so Yan versus Sterling, that was booked for December 12th. Replacing Usman versus Burns, which got pushed back because they just wanted a later date in 2021.
Due to COVID, or is this just a personal...
No COVID this
personal,
time.
decision?
No COVID as far as I know. It was COVID the first time with Gilbert.
Okay.
But
this
Gilbert,
might just be a personal decision.
it was just what they wanted to do, I think, within the UFC.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to get to the January cards and the 2021 cards later in the show. But it's just what needed to be done
Right.
at that point.
Okay.
I'm not going to question the UFC's antics. They do what they
business
want, and I'm just
decision,
going to
and
report it.
They run the show.
But we do have October 17th this weekend that I want to get over real quick. Now we're on to our predictions. We were going over what happened. We're on to our predictions now. So the first prediction I wanted to make was Brian Ortega versus Korean Zombie. I think that Korean Zombie, he's going to knock out Brian Ortega in the first round. And that is a bold fucking prediction. But the reason I say that is because Brian Ortega is the type... I'm going to go switch back. Korean Zombie is the type of person who has a lot of very impressive first-round stoppages very quickly. And Brian Ortega is the type of person who weathers a storm very, very... Brian Ortega is the type of person who weathers a storm within the first round, and he finds his way to submit or knock someone out in the later rounds, and I do not think that is the case with Korean Zombie. His only loss in his career was to Max Holloway, where Faisal stopped it after the fourth round.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Ortega is an amazing fighter, but he's had a 2-year layoff now since that fight. I think the 2-year layoff might have given him that recovery, but at the same time, Korean Zombie is not somebody that you... Korean Zombie is one of the craziest fighters that I've ever seen in my life, that he can go on and take 4 years off himself and come back and fight some of the best fighters in the world and win all of them, except for the fact that he got knocked out with a second left in that...
That's another crazy knockout that no one expected.
But he won that fight before
Was
that.
it like a backhand?
No, it was...
Oh, the elbow.
That's
what
yeah.
The elbow. Yes.
So Korean Zombie pretty much right now would be, I don't know, I can't look up his record right now, but he would be undefeated in so many fights right now since 2012, and him coming back and fighting Brian Ortega.
And the way that fight ended,
he's pretty much won every fight. So him to fight Brian Ortega, it is a dangerous challenge because Brian Ortega is dangerous in his own way. But I don't see Korean Zombie losing that fight. It's either going to be the first round knockout or Korean Zombie will likely win a decision. Do you have any thoughts on that fight? Because I want to hear your prediction.
Well, the Korean Zombie's only, flawed once?
Korean Zombie is getting up there, though, in age.
I'm thinking he's going to have maybe Ortega going, and zombies.
You can't say that without giving a backstory. Like you can't say stuff without giving a back. So who do you want to shout out for that?
Oh, just me and him were at a.
Oh no, you're at a wedding. You were involved in a wedding.
I was involved in a wedding, and
John's wedding.
There was a speech.
John and Amber's wedding.
Blanked, and there's a speech, and
John and Amber's wedding, and their best man went on stage.
He can tell you the story. He knows so much about it.
Yeah, I just want to hear it out of your mouth. Since you want to bring it up, then hide from it. I want to hear it out of your mouth.
All right, true. And the best man gave a very emotional speech. I guess there was a couple memories where him and the groom played Call of Duty Zombies, like probably a lot of you trash talkers do. And
Andrew.
No, sorry, Andrew. It was a good speech, and the zombies part killed me. I can't get over
What's
that.
the zombie part?
He just went, and zombies. And then the speech went on, and that's where it went. And that's why I said, and zombies.
Okay, so
because
I'm gonna tell you the less shy version. What happened was,
as before this segment starts, like Trump says, #fake news. Go ahead.
This is not fake news.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so he was up there. I don't know why they invited...
I didn't give the speech.
I don't know why they invited him to sit down as a groomsman, or what is it? Groomsman? Yeah, groomsman.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not married. I don't think it will be. But they invited him to be a groomsman, and he's sitting up there with a flask in his jacket.
We all had flasks just to make that.
You're the only one who drank it up there.
Because I needed it during that speech.
He's the only one up
Even
there.
his family member gave me the freaking thumbs up.
Yeah. So he's got a flask and a wine glass in front of him, and all of a sudden, the best man's going up on here, and I feel like I'm gonna get killed for this segment right now. But it's all of you because you brought it up. But he's sitting there, he's giving a heartfelt speech, and he's crying his eyes out on the stage, and he goes, "And I remember that one time."
What? That's the point.
None of us in the crowd were laughing. We were pretty quiet. And he goes,
You don't know them like
"And back in the day when we were playing zombies." And this guy goes, looks down and goes, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." And then I'm watching this in the crowd. He opens up his jacket and pulls out his flask and starts chugging it right after the speech. And then best man walks by him and he looks back and goes, "Nice speech." You fucking dick.
It was a nice speech. It was.
Okay.
It's just I couldn't hold it together. It's a
right.
mindset thing.
So that's what happened. Anyway.
That's what happened.
So I think we got off. Yeah, we were on zombie. So we're gonna get over to prediction. I want to do real quick predictions on these ones. Co-main event, I have Chukagian defeats Andrade by a hard-fought unanimous decision. No comment on that. I just think that's the way it's gonna go. Jimmy Crute is one of my favorite fighters right now. He's just such an animal. He had one loss, but I think he's so dangerous in the division, and I'm really excited to see him fight again. I'm so glad he's back. But I think he defeats Bukauskas by first round stoppage, either KO or submission. It doesn't matter. That's what I agree to. And then James Krause is back, but I do think, and this is my hardest decision I made of the entire card, I think James Krause loses. I think Da Silva defeats him. I think it was a toss-up, but I'm taking the less experienced underdog by decision on that one. And then, this one. You remember Thomas Almeida? You do? Nice.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
The name.
Yeah, Thomas Almeida was one of my favorite fighters ever. He got knocked out by Cody Garbrandt. That was his first loss. And Thomas Almeida, I used on UFC 2 and UFC 1. I don't know if he was on UFC 1. But UFC...
How are those games, by the way? Pretty good?
They're okay.
They're okay.
Yeah. UFC 2 for sure. But UFC 1, I can't remember. But I used Thomas Almeida in every single fucking fight. UFC 3, I used Uriah Faber because he was the only guy with wrestling experience enough that I could literally just take everyone down and not have anything thrown against me to rock me.
Hey, undisputed UFC 2010, I used Kimbo Slice. What?
Nice.
Yeah, man, just punching, kicking. That's how I rolled. That's how I try to roll.
But anyways, yeah, so I had Jonathan Martinez fighting against Thomas Almeida. Again, I have it second round KO. I just think that Almeida, he was one of my favorite fighters, like I said, but since he's been KO'd by Garbrandt and Font and losing 3 out of his last 4 fights, and then taking this fight after a 3-year layoff, it's difficult to think that it's difficult to believe that he's going to take on somebody like Jonathan Martinez and beat him in a stand-up fight. I just don't see it happening, and I think Jonathan Martinez is going to take him out mid-fight. That's all I got to say about that. And then we get on to what I've been waiting for the entire night.
I got to make a washing break before this.
Are you kidding me?
Pause.
All right. Well, I'm going to start it out at least. Okay, I'm gonna go through this then. All right. It's going to be Loma versus Lopez.
Okay.
Are you sure? Okay. All right. So I want to go over real quick then. Same night we got all this going on. We got Loma versus Lopez, and that is a very highly anticipated boxing match. My personal opinion is I have Loma defeating Lopez by an 8th round TKO. Besides being clearly robbed by the referee with low blows, Salido coming in ridiculously overweight, and the judges on the scorecards in his title fight against Salido, his only second professional boxing match, to say the least, Loma is practically untouchable. We're growing up in a time where we get to witness greatness. He has made Olympians and professional veterans look like children in the ring with him. It doesn't even make sense to break down their careers because every single name on the resume of Vasily Lomachenko is impressive, and he sat in front of most of them in the pocket, and none of them could touch him. As far as Lopez has brutal knockout power. He's easily the most dangerous man out there right now to take on Lomachenko, and he's absolutely going to bring it. But he's going to slowly be broken down, in my opinion, as the fight goes on, and he starts to realize that he cannot hit the matrix. He is going to slowly lose his fundamentals, and in my opinion, again, that's when I believe that Vasily Lomachenko is going to take over and break him down as a fighter. And that's why I have an 8th round. Sorry, we got the door closing again, but an 8th round TKO by Vasily Lomachenko. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I went over all that. Basically, I'm not going to go over it again, but I said an 8th round by Loma. What is your opinion on Lomachenko versus Lopez?
I take the same winner, Lomachenko.
By what?
I'll go 6.
Earlier.
6.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to favor the 6th round, and it's going to be a TKO.
Okay.
Just a referee stoppage.
6th round. And I had TKO. I don't think that Loma is going to knock him out face down or anything like that.
No. I
think it's going to be a volume of punches.
It's going to be too much.
That is accumulated over an amount of time that the referee just can't handle to watch it anymore. I think. On that topic, I'm glad you're coming back at this time because we're really going to get heated right now.
Oh, boy.
Top 5 boxers of all time. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. Well, let me start with... Are we going from 5th to 1st or...
1st to 5th.
1st to 5th, so we're starting from our favorite.
What do you want to do?
Either or.
What makes more sense in your head?
1st to 5th.
Okay, go 1st to 5th.
So that makes me really hard to think. He probably already knows it. Muhammad Ali.
Number 1.
Number 1, it has to be Muhammad Ali to me. There are many reasons why. There's too many to explain. You know what I mean?
Try.
Just to me. Try. But
you just know what's coming back your way, so I'm trying to give you a chance to explain yourself.
Muhammad Ali, he seemed bigger than the sport itself. If you look around the world,
okay, so
he is one of the most recognizable faces. Yes, he had 5 losses, but he also avenged all those losses, except for one, Trevor Berwick, which Mike Tyson got back from when Ali came and said, "Get him for me."
Okay, but no. He, like you said, Muhammad Ali was bigger than his boxing.
Bigger than boxing.
So he was the most iconic boxer of all time.
Right. I would say so.
Not the best boxer of all time.
But we're going off my favorite boxer,
and I'm criticizing.
Well, Shame on
So
you.
go on. Your
You're
number
not
2.
even letting me finish.
I did. You asked. So go on.
Okay.
Your number 2.
Done asking you. Sugar Ray Robinson.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Go on.
Nothing. Okay. Sugar Ray Robinson. Like I said, I have many on the way over here. Have to be. I'm a very historical guy. I like older fighters compared to like the newer days. There might be a few new guys if we went top 10, but Joe Louis. Joe Louis just the record.
I don't agree. But okay. I
Joe Louis,
understand
the
why people
record,
add him too. Yeah.
The record, who he like. He is ranked.
Joe Louis lost to
Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, he lost too many fights around mid-career. That makes me feel like he's not in that. Like, he's in the conversation for top 10, not top 5.
Okay. That's on your criteria, though. My criteria is that he is there.
I know, and I'm picking apart you have a chance to pick apart everything, and I know you're going to, because you're going to hear mine and just lose it.
Okay, well, we got plenty to come then. But to me, like, they say, oh, bum of the month, blah, blah, blah. Bum of the month club, they used to call whoever Joe Louis fought every month.
Okay.
And back then you fought like maybe 10, who knows how much times you fought a month. It's not like today, like every 6 months. Maybe you train for, like, you get scheduled, train for a fight, and keep going, right? Back then, like in Sugar Ray Robinson's time, you just fought.
And that's the thing. Where
You just fought so many. It could, yeah, of course, Louis fought against some guy that, yeah, it's my first fight. Then maybe, oh, you get to fight Joe Louis. But someone backed out. I got to fight Joe Louis. Then you go get knocked out in one round just to put food on your family's table.
My biggest thing about that situation is not that
Joe Louis's fault.
It's not that they had to do it. It's what they had to do when they were doing that, and when they actually fought someone like Rocky Marciano who knocked him out.
Yeah, they fought Joe Louis. Joe Louis, what he said about Jim Braddock, yes. Cinderella Man, the movie's based off Jim Braddock's story. He said Joe Louis said about Jim Braddock, he is the most courageous man I've ever fought in the ring. And Jim Braddock went out there with arthritis in both of his hands from working throughout the Depression and everything like that. So, of course, Louis won the title from him and carried on. And then he dropped the belt. He walked away. He didn't drop the belt to another fighter. He just walked away. He said, I'm done. And then he came back, and it's when the Marciano fight happened.
See, but the thing is with Joe Louis is just that it's like, yes, you can go out and you can fight these bums, and I understand that was the time of the sport, but when you're fighting that top level competition finally and you are losing, that's where it gets out of the conversation with me.
But Joe Louis was older by that point.
That's fine, but you can play that age all you want, but it's like Rocky Marciano.
And we can play that age when Rocky Marciano beat Joe Louis. 79 years old.
He was not 79 years old.
No, he wasn't, but the movie claims.
Yeah.
What movie was that?
It was, that was some bullshit movie I was watching, but
yeah,
he was still in his 30s.
Yeah, he wasn't 79 years old.
He was still in his 30s.
He come back off of retirement. And he was a little
Rocky Marciano. No, it was Joe Louis was 79 goddamn years old.
What about Rocky Marciano? How come every white guy
wants to bring up Rocky Marciano? I think that was oh man, it was a barbershop.
Yeah, that's the scene you showed me. I just forget what movie it was.
But
number 4.
I know you're on your number 3, but I just want to bring this up.
That's
real
my
quick.
third one. Is Joe Louis.
Yeah, and because you brought up this topic already this early, I just want to bring it up before I even get there. But
okay,
Rocky Marciano, and I just want to say this like real quick because it's mind-boggling for me.
Well, it's in his head.
And honestly, I don't know. I don't know like the history behind boxing. I'm not completely sure about sometimes. So Rocky Marciano in 1955. He decided at 31 years old he was going to retire, and he had knocked out in his 7 world title fights. He had knocked out every single one of them, and what I am like crazy about in my own head is like, okay, that was 1955, dude. That was like fucking what, almost 70 years ago now, 65 years ago.
65, yeah.
So 65 years ago, and you're sitting there and you're going, what could have Rocky Marciano really been? If Rocky Marciano actually ended up fighting for the next 9 years when Muhammad Ali had his first title shot, if he fought for those next 9 years and he actually defended his title with knockout victories over every single opponent that was out there, like those guys that Muhammad Ali fought,
he wouldn't have beat Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston would have knocked Rocky Marciano. Yes, we do.
How do we know that?
Because Marciano's jab, Liston's jab was enough to knock out an opponent.
But you said earlier when they did the virtual shit that Marciano even beat Muhammad Ali. You're number one. You're number one.
In the States.
You're number one.
In the States. If you watch it in the States, Marciano won. Why? Because Marciano served in the army. At that time, they made that virtual fight. Muhammad Ali did the draft dodge thing. If you watch the fight on England channels,
yes,
Ali wipes the fucking floor with him and knocks him out.
But what I want to know is, okay, you can say
it's
that.
True.
You can say that.
I'm not just
it's
saying
not.
it's
actually like, it's true the virtual reality of it, but it's not true the
on
reality
what side
of
do you look at?
I'm
the
not
state side or the
I'm
what's
not looking at any side. What I'm looking at.
But what's true about it, though?
Nothing's true about it.
No, because it never happened. And
exactly.
It never would.
That's what I mean.
One man was dead.
All I'm saying is, like, you're saying this can't happen, but one side did have it happen. All I'm saying is, I'm not looking at the United States. I'm not looking at wherever. I'm looking at the fact that Rocky Marciano, for whatever reason, and maybe somebody more educated in the historical field of boxing can tell me why, Rocky Marciano only had 7 title fights in the World Heavyweight Championship, and he knocked out every single one of them, and for whatever reason, after Archie Moore, he decided to retire, and 14 years later, he was dead. And 14 years later, right when he had passed away in the plane accident you were talking about, that's when Muhammad Ali had his first title shot. So if Rocky Marciano continued down that path, and let's just say for whatever hypothetical reason that he did beat Sonny Liston, and he got the chance to
never
fight,
would happen, but
he got the chance to fight against Muhammad Ali, and he knocked Muhammad Ali out cold, would Rocky Marciano be the greatest fighter to ever live?
Oh, you answer yourself that.
Yes, he would.
Over Mayweather.
Yes. If he went, so let's say,
because you've said Mayweather is the best to do it.
So let's say let's say Rocky Marciano 14 years.
Different weight classes, by the way.
On average, he has 2 or 3 fights a year. So let's say over 14 years, he has about 30 more fights, and he fights Muhammad Ali. Rocky Marciano would have finished his career about 80-0. Yes, Rocky Marciano would be the greatest fighter to ever live, but he retired and he passed away.
What was Chavez's record? Senior?
Yeah, Chavez got his ass kicked by Pernell Whitaker.
Draw.
You know what happened.
That's coming up. But
I
draw.
know. You know what happened.
Draw. He's still
and he
90-0, 90-1 or whatever.
But that brings me up to the fact
is he the greatest?
No, he's not, because he got his ass kicked by Pernell Whitaker.
Draw.
Yeah, and that's coming up soon. That's coming up soon.
It is.
But you know that Chavez fought tomato cans from Mexico.
When he was like 14, 16 years fucking old.
And so did Canelo. Is Canelo the greatest to ever live?
Julio Chavez Sr. was a professional at 14.
Yeah.
He was fighting in rings. So,
Canelo,
of course, the first couple guys...
Canelo was a professional at about 15 or 16.
No offense to any of our Spanish trash talkers, but fighting in, like, the rings in Mexico and these bars, like some people here in North America start out in, like, yeah, it might be drunks like me going up against them. You know what I mean?
We bring the Mexicans down here to take them out.
There you have it, folks. It's a resume thing. It's a mindset thing.
It's a mindset thing. But no, anyway, so Chavez will never be included in that. He's in the maybe top 15.
He's got, man, he is, okay. Yeah, top 15.
Yeah.
He's got to be in the top 20, though. That's as low as I'll go for Chavez.
I didn't even go lower than that. I said top 15.
Okay, top. I would.
But Chavez.
It depends on what you're going at. Are you going by record or.
I'm not going by
like
record.
Competition.
You got to point.
Competition.
You got to play the points into it. Chavez fought against Cans back and forth.
And Marciano did as well.
And Marciano did.
And Lewis did.
But what I'm saying about Marciano
Ali
is if Marciano ended up fighting past those 7 fights at a world title, he did not fight Cans. So if Marciano did that for 9 more years, knocking out those 7 fighters that he did on, like, and I know you're gonna say no, but like Sonny Liston, like Muhammad Ali, if he fought those fighters for the next 9 years and knocked out every single one of them, I know it's speculation and I know it's just kind of up in the air, but Marciano would have been the greatest fighter to ever live in this fucking world. Sorry, not in this generation, in this world.
At least he would have been done by the 70s, because that's when you get the Joe Frazier's and the George Foreman's coming in.
Come on.
And they would have just... George Foreman was freaking...
You mean who Muhammad Ali beat both of them?
Yeah.
And he beat... If I'm saying it...
He would have beat Rocky Marciano.
If
he wouldn't even be able to find a move in Ali.
If Rocky Marciano
couldn't catch him.
If Rocky Marciano beat him at 69, is all I'm saying is... Obviously, George Foreman and Joe Frazier would not have been beating him.
Never would happen. Marciano would never have beaten Liston, in my opinion. Or Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson was trained by, well...
Give me number 4.
Number 4, Jack Johnson.
Okay.
Jack Johnson.
The
first black heavyweight champion of all time.
I have him in my top 15.
One of the greatest defensive fighters in heavyweights of all time. He was before his time.
Yeah.
This his stance, the way he would even pat down punches coming at him. He would just over and taunt his opponents.
Yeah.
Just before his time, and his record was...
Again, against Seth, I have Jack Johnson, because we're going stylistically, because boxing has progressed.
Right. See, like I explained first, I'm an old school guy.
Yeah.
I love the history of boxing, so I haven't seen
these
guys fight.
I have Jack Johnson in my top 15 as well.
Okay, I respect that.
But not in my top 5. No. Number 5 or that was number 4?
That was number 4, 5. Jack Johnson. Number 5. I want to go with someone nowadays, but I can't really think of one because I have so many. Like
I can think of a name.
I'm not going to go with Mayweather. I refuse to go with that name. But number 5,
think really hard.
It's not ever going to be Mayweather. Is it Tyson?
Oh God! If you even bring up that name,
it's not.
You're done on this podcast.
It's not.
You know nothing about boxing if you think Tyson's in your top 5.
It's not. Tell them that because a lot of people
if
say Tyson is the greatest fighter of all time.
If anybody thinks that Tyson's in their top 5,
listen to the main trash talker.
Unsubscribe.
There you have it.
Go ahead. Number 5.
Number 5 would have to be out of my own personal...
As I have Tyson on my wall.
And
I do love Tyson as a fighter, but he's not in the top 5 of all time. That's for sure. Tyson got pieced apart by anyone who was... I know it was the end of his career, but like Tyson had a quick
Buster
career.
Douglas put him out.
He had a quick career, and he got pieced apart by anybody like Lennox Lewis, who was actually worthy of being in his class. And it is what it is. People loved Mike Tyson's knockout power, but I'm going to be the one to say it that he was not as good as he looked with his power. If you got
Tyson out of the first 3 to 4 rounds, he would
tire out. Butterbean.
Butterbean.
Yeah, he's a butterbean. You get him out of the first 4 rounds, you beat his ass after that.
Look what happened.
Yeah.
Like, all the guy did was stay away from Buster Douglas, and he just coasted out.
Number 5.
Number 5, I just mentioned Jack Johnson. Wow. I might actually... Sorry for keeping this old school, folks. I've never been to like a pro box. Ooh, whoa, 5. Shoot. I'm either this is a triple way 3-time. You're sticking around for this. 3-time. It's Jack Dempsey.
Okay. Oh, you have your 3 for your 5?
These are tied.
Keep talking. I
Okay,
gotta use the washroom.
Jack Dempsey won.
I gotta use the washroom.
Sugar Ray Leonard twice. The second. And the 3rd time has to be... Jeez. Yeah, it's gotta be Sonny Liston. It has to be. For some odd reason, I picked Sonny Liston up there. I know he was a very controversial figure in boxing, but he ranked 7th, and I said 5, 6, 7. But just, it's got to be him for some reason, and there's a lot to, in a way, point towards that. He had a great record. He started in jail. He actually started as a criminal, and then worked his way out, and finally got the title, got what he wanted, to get out of how people treated him and whatnot. And then everyone said, oh, go shut Muhammad Ali up. And then he couldn't. And then he went back to where he started. After the second fight with Ali, Sonny Liston pretty much fell off not the face of the earth, but like it's just his fight started to...
Was Sonny Liston number 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I cheated because remember I said he was either Sugar Ray
You
Leonard.
don't get to cheat. You get a number 5 and you get honorable mentions. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, so I picked Jack Dempsey for number 5.
I like that.
Jack Dempsey.
So I never added him to mine, but I do.
So
like that.
you would put him at my number 1 then? Is that what you're saying over Ali? Jack Dempsey is fucking... I'm going to get into more about him.
No.
He's one of my guys.
I would put Jack Dempsey.
I went Dempsey, Sugar Ray Leonard, and then Sonny Liston. So Dempsey 5, Leonard 6, and then Liston 7.
Who?
Honorable.
Sugar Ray Leonard. Okay.
Sugar Ray
And then
Leonard.
who's number 7?
Sonny Liston.
Okay.
Jack Dempsey's number 5.
Not a bad list. Not a bad list. Not a bad list. It's you can piece apart mine now.
Even though you picked apart my guys in the first.
I picked apart
Lewis.
I picked apart your guys, but I also every single person that I told you that I had a problem with was in the top 15.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
My number 1.
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Knew it was coming.
And if you want to say that Muhammad Ali is ahead of him, my only response to that is Layla Ali, his daughter.
You can't. Gee, man, it's the same fucking thing as Ali said, oh, Tyson would have knocked me out. Then Tyson said, oh, no, Ali would have knocked me out. It's the same fucking thing.
Not really, because it's your daughter. Compared to the other person just being generous. A daughter? A child?
It wasn't a
doesn't
child.
lie.
This is a grown woman saying this by then. This happened recently. That's fucking...
Layla Ali, her own argument was Floyd Mayweather has more, and I quote, more skills than my father, but my father laid the blueprint.
It wouldn't have been a Floyd Mayweather without a Muhammad
So
Ali.
you like history,
Mm-hmm.
but Floyd Mayweather took the blueprint and has more skills than Muhammad Ali. That's what she said. My number 2 is Muhammad Ali.
Hey, appreciate that. Appreciate that.
My number 2 is Muhammad Ali.
that.
It is Muhammad Ali, but
Okay. Well, we get your point.
my number 3, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh.
My number 4, Sugar Ray Robinson.
We have a little bit of the same.
It's pretty close.
Close, yeah.
My number 5, actually, that I was so thrown off about because, again, number 5 is the hardest one of the bunch.
I'd struggle
Roy Jones Jr. So Roy Jones Jr., it was the way he moved through each weight class and the way he did it up until he somewhat tarnished his legacy, but I don't think so because I'm not like other people where he stuck around too long. I think what Roy Jones Jr. did in his prime was bigger than anybody could ever do in their career. And that's why Roy Jones is my number 5, but I do have honorable mentions, like I said, with Rocky Marciano and Pernell Whitaker for my number 6 and number 7.
It's not bad.
You're not going to argue with me?
You matched most of mine.
Yeah.
And for a journeyman, Sugar Ray Robinson was a journeyman for many years. He fought... the highest Sugar Ray Robinson went was for the light heavyweight title, and he lost that fight. But he went from... I think it was... Jesus. Could have even been welterweight, dude. Like the weights back then.
I don't like that word though.
Journeyman? That's what they called it.
But journeyman really means nowadays that you're a journeyman who's kind of getting stopped by other fighters who are on their way on their journey to the title.
See,
you know what
in
I mean?
a wrestling term, WWE term, that's called a jobber.
A jobber?
Jobber.
Okay.
You just go out there and you get your fucking
In
ass
boxing
whooped.
and MMA, that's still called a journeyman.
That, to me, a journeyman is a guy that travels different weights and different worlds of the sports. It doesn't mean if he wins or loses. It's just he's been there.
Yeah.
Like, okay, say I started at like lightweight, moved up, then, you know, you like just move up in weight. Robinson did that for years. He actually held.
Yeah, so
lot of titles.
there's gatekeeper. I just want to make sure that I like actually have this right. There's gatekeeper. Journeyman. Yeah, so a gatekeeper obviously is the gatekeeper for anybody who wants to get to the next level. But
You fight that guy?
Journeyman in sports is an athlete who is competent but unable to excel.
To me, that's not a good fucking example of a journeyman. Journeyman is
So that's the only problem I have
so
with that
if you
term.
go on a journey from Canada to Europe, that means you're not a person that
wants to excel. No?
wants to excel, even though you're spending all this money. That's a fucking bull. Who said that? Wikipedia?
Anyways, okay, real quick though, the other
That's
day
fucking bullshit.
The other day we were talking about this earlier. I got real curious about Pernell Whitaker. Where I was looking up his record, I asked you, I asked Wade, I asked everyone. I was curious as to why Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. never had a rematch following their draw that we just argued about earlier, even though you knew it was a robbery.
Mm-hmm.
You just wanted to fucking like grind my gears, but it was highway robbery. It should have been a win for Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
They were both undefeated at the time, and it would have made sense to happen again, but it never did. So perhaps it was at different times where it didn't include a rematch clause, or the best answer, maybe Chavez's team didn't want it again because they clearly seen that he lost. Why didn't that fight happen again?
A lot of people and a lot of
And
reports.
if, sorry, I'm not cut you off, but if anybody has a better answer towards what
leave
we
it
have,
in the comments, please.
please, yes, because
And
because
comment.
I am so curious about this. But sorry, go on.
But from what I've read from different sources is Chavez didn't want to lose. So if he knew he would fight Sweet Pea again,
He thought he would lose.
he would probably drop it. Like, he probably had it mentally like, man, I got away with
Chavez
drop.
doesn't seem like that type of pussy.
It doesn't. He doesn't because
Yeah.
like a lot of Spanish Mexican fighters, they like
Will fight anyone.
they will fight and go out on the shield if they have
But do you think
to.
it's because he was such an icon to his country
Maybe
that he
it.
was so scared that they wouldn't view him the same?
Exactly. Another reason is because he didn't fit into this one is weird to me. This type of theory is weird to me. Is Chavez didn't fit into Sweet Pea and Roy Jones being the best at that time when they fought. So that's another what some people say why Chavez, I know it sounds weird, Chavez didn't want a rematch. I think, to me, like the whole thing where, well, Chavez just wasn't on Sweet Pea and Roy Jones Jr.'s level. I just personally, and I'm not knocking Chavez, he has had a great career. Chavez Sr., great.
This is why I said I had Chavez in my top 15, but Pernell Whitaker is in my top 8.
Right.
Yeah.
But
top 7. Sorry.
Not bashing his career or his legacy. He's huge. Julio Chavez Sr. I just didn't think he wanted the loss. I think he wanted to, let's not do this again. I got lucky. Because I think I hate that. One judge had it 115 to 113. Sweet Pea.
Yeah.
The next 2 judges had it a draw, so overpowers the one judge.
But that's close. That's only one round apart.
It is.
So that's a close fight.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like that fight was not that close.
No. It was a robbery. Sweet Pea should have won that fight. Let's just get that out of the way.
But we're going to get back to robberies by the end of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to stop on that real quick because it has really interested me, like looking into that, why that fight never happened again. And it might be the time or the age of whatever
Chavez
era
would
they
have
were
had
going
to
up
been
in.
getting up there in his own age by that time.
Not even that, because Chavez fought multiple times after that. Pernell Whitaker fought multiple times after that. They never fought each other. Why? I don't know, and I want to know. So if anyone in the comments knows, I want to know why Chavez and Pernell Whitaker never fought again. If it's better than the answer we provided or
please
thought up.
Put it on there.
Next up, main card predictions for October 24th. The one we're getting to, UFC 254. It has an incredibly early start time, 10:15 a.m. for the prelims, 2 p.m. for the main card. So right after Sage's birthday party at 1:30. It's gonna be
any 10 people.
It's gonna be in the afternoon during his nap. So we're gonna get into our predictions for that. If you got any predictions, you can let me know. I know you just watched the Gaethje fight against Tony Ferguson, but for myself, I have Khabib defeats Gaethje by second round stoppage, KO or submission. I think Gaethje put on a clinic against Tony Ferguson, but all factors in play. The stylistic differences, I don't see Gaethje having much breathing room, especially with this flat stance that he holds up. I know he has a wrestling background, but he does hold that standing style pretty flat, and I think that Khabib is going to take the double leg, and he's not going to have much breathing room. I see him getting Gaethje has already lost third round to Poirier, and Khabib had really pressed the action against Poirier and stopped him in the third round, and I do not see Justin Gaethje getting past the second round. I think it's a quicker stoppage than that fight was. I don't know if you have anything to add to that before I move on.
I'm just going to agree with you. Khabib's going to, we watched the fight.
He's going to maul him.
You were pointing out, I don't know much about MMA, but you were pointing out the stance and how Khabib will just not really shoot, but work and fight for it, and finally take him down.
He's not going to pull a Ben Askren. He's not going to shoot and get kneed in the head. Khabib's going to wait for his time, and he's going to take apart the square stance that Justin Gaethje sometimes shows.
Kind of walks towards, and
it's not a walk, but Justin Gaethje, especially in his
type.
He plants his feet. And he tries to plant those bombs, and when he misses those bombs,
you're off balance.
Those legs he's not necessarily off balance, but those legs are squared.
So then if Khabib slips a
punch,
he
snatches those legs and pulls them in.
Like a buddy throws hard, and Khabib
right underneath, and the minute Khabib snatches those legs, he'll have no answers. Wow. It'll be 2 rounds, my opinion.
2 rounds. Okay.
Next up, Co-main event, Whitaker against Jared Cannonier. I have a lot of second round knockouts on this. So I have a second round KO or decision. I think that Volkov, I have Whitaker, Ugh. What an idiot. Okay, I have Whitaker.
The best of us.
Whitaker defeating Jared Cannonier by second round KO. Whitaker opens up as the slight underdog, but I'm having a tough time seeing it that way. This fight could go to decision, like I just said, but I don't see Whitaker being knocked out, and I don't see him not coming out victorious. So it's either going to be a stoppage or decision for Whitaker on that fight. Again, Volkov defeats Walt Harris, Walt Harris was the one who he was having those family problems right before he lost to Overeem. And unfortunately, he lost that fight to Overeem, I think, in the second round as well. And it was a hard fight to watch because you watch the promos and everything for what Walt Harris was going through not even 6 months before.
And then you want to go for him.
And you want to go for him, but Overeem ended up winning. And now he's fighting a guy like Volkov, who I believe is on a different level than even Overeem. And he's getting that fight. And I do think that Volkov does the same stuff to him. He either wins in the second round or he wins by decision. If Walt Harris doesn't knock him out in the first round with that incredible knockout power, like, there's always the chance because Volkov had been knocked out by guys like Derek Lewis and other guys before with that incredible one-punch power. But I think like Greg Hardy, for example, the ex-football player, who Volkov pieced him apart, and I know he was not on the level of Derek Lewis or Walt Harris, but he pieced him apart pretty easily. And I think Volkov, stylistically, I think he takes him apart pretty easily in their fight coming up. And I do think he'll stop him in the second round, but again, if it goes to decision, the only way that I see Walt Harris winning is in the first round. And he's going to get very discouraged if he doesn't win in the first round. My opinion.
So during the second round, he's going to walk around like, oh shit.
I think the second round, he's going to realize that he can't hit Volkov. If he doesn't catch him in the first round, I think he's going to walk around the second round realizing that it's just not his night.
Maybe try too hard.
And he's either going to show the grit to go the distance, or he's going to get knocked out in that second round. It's only a 3-round fight. So if he doesn't get knocked out in the second round, I see him going the distance. Besides that, I see Cynthia Calvillo defeats Murphy by decision. I'm very confident in this bet after watching Calvillo in her last fight against Jessica Ai, moving up a weight class to flyweight, defeating the number one contender. Also, again, Cynthia choked me out twice when we were in Sacramento, and I really, 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 really find it hard betting against a female competitor who basically shows me my signs of death. I cannot find it in me to bet against somebody that literally could have killed me if we weren't in a gym. Well, it's as simple as that.
You're watching Cynthia. This is it's just predictions, that's all.
Last of all, once again, we are back with Magomed versus Ion Cutelaba. I swear this keeps being added to cards because I can't pronounce his fucking name. Ion Cutelaba, I think. I can't pronounce his name. Yeah, I think this keeps getting added. This has been on every single one of our podcasts.
Cutelaba?
Magomed, and I didn't even put his last name because I can't pronounce it. Versus Ion Cutelaba. I swear, and I said, I swear this is just put on here, and this keeps getting rescheduled to every single card that we got to put up because I don't know how to pronounce it.
They're watching us.
But this fight, their first fight, they had a controversial stoppage that we've been over already on other podcasts. I'm not going to go over it again. But it's been rescheduled, I think, or canceled 3 times now due to positive COVID test or other reasons. But I think 2 of them were positive COVID tests. So I'm not going to break down the fighters again because I'm not having this. But I will say that Magomed defeats Eon in the same fashion. Even though it's controversial, I do think Magomed defeats Eon by first round stoppage. I'm going to leave it at that. That's what I said the last 3 times we've talked about this. And I'm not changing my answer to that.
And it remains the same, folks.
It remains the same. Back to Sacramento, though, for a second. Have I ever told you a story about the fighter in Sacramento who had no legs, who I sparred against?
No.
I haven't?
No.
Actually.
No, legitimately no.
Okay, so I went down, and so basically, like, Uriah Faber was kind of, like, monitoring all the fighting. So I sparred against a couple good wrestlers who, the wrestlers, like, I wasn't very fond of the wrestling while I was down there, and Team Alpha Male's wrestling is next level. So it was a hard time keeping my legs away from some of those guys, just grabbing them. Uriah Faber, greatest wrestler, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time in the UFC, but so there's another guy who comes up and he goes, "Hey, you want to spar?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." He had no legs. He had 2 arms, no legs. No legs at all. Like, they were cut off pretty much at the knee. I don't know the whole story behind it, but he starts going. So I start kind of going, okay, round starts. And, like, I had already done, like, maybe 2 or 3 rounds before that. And I kind of, like, I have no idea who he is. Start smiling. Like, not smiling, like, laughing at him, but smiling, like, in a way, like, okay, like, let's just get this round over with so we can, you know? So I can move on. I start throwing my jabs down at him. He's about half my size. His head's down to my waist. I start throwing my jabs down at him. And all of a sudden, I go to throw a lazy jab. And I watch him take his left hand, place it on the ground, and take his right hand, launch off his left hand, and crank me in the jaw with his right hand. And I went... And I fucking fell back and wobbled and went...
Holy shit.
In my head, I go, "Oh, what's fucking on, you fucking little prick?" And I go, "You want to do me?" It's like...
Just smoke like this.
Yeah.
I want you, frickin'.
So all of a sudden, like, my whole attitude changed. He clipped me to the jaw. I was like...
Were you pissed?
And I was not necessarily more pissed than somebody who, like, would clip me in general, but I was pissed as in, I was like, oh, I thought we were, like, doing late rounds.
And then this guy
handstand
one.
This guy launches off his left hand with no legs and clips me with a right hand that almost knocks me out cold. And so I, like, shook it off and started just throwing haymakers back at him. And we were sitting there swinging for the entire duration of the round.
He was like, he was bombing back with you.
And
this is insane.
The end of the round comes.
Were people watching?
Well,
what's going on?
No, they all knew him.
Yeah, but
because it was in Sacramento, so they all knew him. So we were swinging back and forth, boom, boom, boom. After the fight goes, after the sparring match goes, and, like, we do 1 round together. We look at each other, we smack each other's gloves, we go, "Nice fucking round," and he goes, "Yeah, you too, thanks, man," or whatever. I find out this guy's, like, fucking, he has almost 10 professional MMA matches, and people won't give him fights because of his condition. They're scared to fight him because it's too different.
Really?
So he's a professional fighter, like 6-5 or something like that.
Fuck. It's not bad.
Yeah, no, not bad for no legs.
Like, fuck, it's pretty fucking impressive.
But no, it's like, so people won't fight him because of his condition. And I can understand why after sparring him, because he almost knocked me the fuck out.
Scared to get knocked the fuck out. They are.
But that was kind of cool. That was one of the coolest sparring moments I ever had in my life. And that guy was a great guy, and he was a even better fighter. And
I just can't believe he handstand.
No, I remember watching this. Where
did it happen quick?
You're sparring, so
Like
it was basically I'm like going like this, and I have my hand against my chin. I'm like kind of like with a little smirk on my face, and I'm like, and I'm throwing this jab, and then I go to throw my third lazy jab, and all I see is his hand plant across on the floor with his left hand, launch himself up, and jump over my lazy jab, and just go and fucking wobble me the fuck back. That's all I can say about it, man. He clipped me and this was at the point where I was 21 years old. I was in the best shape of my life. And I was fighting against the best people in Canada. And this guy with no legs jumped up on his arm and hit me with one of the hardest right hands I've ever been hit with.
That's why no one wants to fight him. They don't want to get knocked the fuck out by him.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of that. Fuck.
Anyways, yeah, okay, so last thing real quick, I don't even want to touch up on it. October 31st, Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva. We all know how that's going to go. Anderson Silva is going to lose again. But we all hope that Anderson Silva is going to win. I don't think that's going to be the case. Like I mentioned...
stranger things have happened.
I know, there's always a chance, but I don't think, Anderson Silva will beat Uriah Hall at this point in his career. I mentioned November 21st, so this is where we're getting into this, and I'm going to take a drink before we go. Yeah, we're on our second last page here, but November 21st is likely still trying to find a main event. Like I said, the only thing that I seen was the flyweight bout. But December 12th, who was supposed to be Usman versus Burns, obviously had been replaced by Jan versus Sterling, of course, which was announced just recently in the last week. But that brings me on the next topic about Conor McGregor. And it comes as no surprise that anyone but Conor McGregor has us on our toes for quite some time about what he actually plans to do himself.
What the fuck does he want to do? Does he want to fight Pacquiao? Or does he want to fight MMA again?
And we don't know. That's the thing. We have no idea what Conor McGregor is doing.
We're recording, we have no clue. Maybe he answers tomorrow.
No, he actually
has he answered?
We have an idea. So I'm gonna go over the last 2 weeks with Conor real quick.
Okay.
There was speculation
This is entertaining.
There was speculation about Conor potentially coaching for the next The Ultimate Fighter season with Khabib.
I didn't know they were doing it. Oh fuck! Could you imagine those
How
two
amazing
as
that would be?
That would be.
It would be.
I would have to tune into that.
But having their rematch following that, Dana White says that Conor messed the deal up, and you never understand what Dana was saying completely because Dana likes to protect himself sometimes. So you don't understand if it was Conor who messed up the deal or Dana just saving himself. That's the only issues with that. It's clear that Khabib has no interest in that fight, though. He said it online. I
think he said
he doesn't want to.
You need to
Conor.
win some before you fight.
No, he said Conor.
He did say that.
I'm not going to promote Conor. Or this is great promotion for Conor, which I'm not going to do. He doesn't deserve this or something.
Good for him. Well, Khabib's being
Conor
a champion that is
besides Khabib, Conor's the greatest fighter at that weight class right now. Besides Khabib, if Conor beats Poirier again, he is clearly the next title contender. And if
he
Khabib
needs to fight Khabib, then
and if Khabib doesn't want to do it, Khabib can hide from it and fight.
No, sorry.
GSP.
When Khabib beats Gaultier, or how do you say his name?
Gaethje.
Gaethje. When Khabib beats Gaethje, then.
But Conor's next again. A motivated Conor who's not drunk while he's fighting.
Just during interviews. I don't blame him.
He drank at the fucking press conference.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Interviews, press conferences.
Conor was not Conor. When he walks out, like, when Conor walks out against Jose Aldo, and he goes, and he's moving, but then Conor walks out against Khabib and goes, like a slouch. You clearly seen the difference between a
Khabib just...
You see the difference between a butterfly and a slug.
And that's where Khabib just, all right, I'll just take you.
Yeah.
Where do you... Boom.
Anyways, okay, so yeah, Conor approached the tough season. That didn't work out. Conor seemed agitated.
Sorry, just a bag of chips here.
That is not a bag of chips. That's a drinking problem. Conor seemed agitated when he wasn't getting the busy 2020 he wanted due to COVID-19, not allowing him to fight in front of a crowd, and the UFC wanted him to wait for that crowd to get back so he could make gate revenue.
Aren't we all agitated by COVID-19
we are
so far?
We are, but when Conor McGregor is a fighter who is being told he's the only fighter in the UFC who can't fight because he needs gate revenue, that is very agitating. Especially when the fans want to see Conor McGregor fight, but the UFC just wants to make revenue off of every bit of revenue they can make off of Conor McGregor fight.
So like merchandise.
Merchandise can always be sold, but
that goes to McGregor. So if I bought a Conor McGregor T-shirt, that would go to him too, like a percentage.
That's some way, yeah,
probably. like
depending on where you bought it.
Say, well, I don't know where they sell fucking...
No, but I'm saying the UFC, when Conor McGregor fights, they want, like, gate revenue. Every like, inside booze and food and merchandise, likely that will be sparked up a tad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to be much more than what you're seeing because people are just there to watch. What is really getting them is the gate revenue, where Conor McGregor sparks up ticket prices, he sparks up numbers, he sparks up where you're going to use the stadium to throw his fights. He wants it at Cowboy Arena in Texas. Stadium.
Stadium. Dallas Cowboys play, yeah.
He wants it at Cowboy Stadium. Anyways, that's all that. But so Conor, where were we? So Conor had frustration about the UFC not wanting him to fight. So his frustration enabled him to start negotiating deals to fight Manny Pacquiao, which we mentioned in the boxing ring, which is still a possibility.
It is. And
Conor then started strong arm. In my opinion, this is not something anybody else has said. My opinion is Conor started strong arm in the UFC into offering him a fight. He called it Dustin Poirier, asked him to fight in Ireland in an exhibition match for charity outside of the UFC. Dana White then, not after this whole 2020 stuff that happened, Dana White offered him a fight with Dustin Poirier inside of the UFC not even a week later after all of this charity event stuff went on. Conor accepted, Dustin accepted, and then Conor said that he wanted to save the November 21st card or save the December 12th card. And Dana White came back and said, look, 2020 has already been labeled up when Conor said he was retired. I have nothing for Conor in 2020. If he wants to headline the January 23rd card, it's all his. Conor came back and accepted it. Mm-hmm. Conor also has...
fight Pacquiao in December.
Yeah, Conor has also offered to donate $500,000 to Poirier's, his opponent's, Good Fight Foundation, which was stipulated in the original idea of a charity match and was accepted. And Poirier said he'll use it towards basically the experience of children like growing up like with whether it be fighting or whether it be in education. So everything about that sounds great. But as far as the fight itself, it's gonna happen inside the UFC, and it's finally happening. Conor McGregor is finally getting the fight he wanted, and I'm not on any sides. I don't know what Conor did to piss off the UFC, But at the same time, I do agree that the
Maybe
UFC
throwing
likely...
a chair at their bus.
That was a long time ago, but
Well, still. You don't forget those things.
He's still
And
the-
brawling.
he's still the cash cow.
And brawling.
He's still the cash cow. But yeah, no, it was the UFC.
And Khabib's still champion, so.
Yeah, we'll see after Conor takes apart Poirier.
And then Khabib
Gets a second chance.
And then Khabib beats Conor.
You
again.
think, as the jokes go, you think that a motivated Conor McGregor will lose to Khabib?
Yes.
You think a non-drunk Conor McGregor will lose
We'll
to Khabib?
see come fight time. We'll see come fight time.
We will. You think
If he beats Poirier.
You think a
If.
Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez will lose to Khabib?
We'll wait and see. There's two, like, you get... And then there's, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an MMA analyst like you, sir. So.
I'm not an MMA analyst either. I know a lot less about the jiu-jitsu game and about wrestling than a lot of these guys on here.
You used to fight MMA, so you know more than I do.
Just because I fought it doesn't mean I know it.
You know what it's like to be in there, though, and, like, watch it.
I don't know what it's like to be in there with Khabib or Conor McGregor. If I had the opportunity to look at them face to face while I was fighting them and understand why they're the way that they are, I could probably speak on it a little better. But the only ones that can is
those guys.
All right. Anyways, okay. So last of all, Conor McGregor told, like I said, he won at Cowboy Stadium. He got January 23rd. Beating Poirier for a second time would put Conor McGregor in place for a title shot. But he said he wants Manny Pacquiao next.
Pacquiao will knock him out.
Right after that, he wants Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao will knock him out 100%. You don't come in to... He should have learned this with Mayweather. He should have learned this.
Manny Pacquiao is not Mayweather.
No, Manny Pacquiao will knock him out. He won't even waste the time Mayweather did.
Manny
Mayweather carried McGregor.
But Manny Pacquiao has not knocked out people in a long time.
He still can knock out McGregor. 100%.
Manny Pacquiao has had
he's faster than McGregor.
In the level he's... Yeah, one sec.
He's faster than...
In his experience...
Pacquiao is more experienced than all of McGregor's sparring partners in boxing. Guaranteed.
And that's fine.
This is one of the top boxers in the past decade we're talking about, is Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, Manny Pacquiao's last knockout and only knockout in... Holy fucking shit. Since 2009.
Okay.
Was against Matisse.
Alright. And you don't think he could do the same to McGregor?
I do.
I
do think
now,
he can.
you can't sit there and tell me McGregor fought his way to, what was it, the 8th round with Mayweather? 9th? What one? It was 8th.
No, it was longer than that. It was the 10th or 11th.
10th.
10th?
Stoppage.
McGregor versus...
Mayweather. How long did that go?
10th round.
10th round.
Yeah.
You're going to sit there and tell me, arguably the best boxer of our time, did not drag him?
He did. Yeah, he did.
McGregor.
But Manny...
Second round. Mayweather.
I can't.
How's it going, man? Yeah, we're having fun tonight. Yeah. Oh, slip. People are like, oh, McGregor, he fought so hard and went so far with Mayweather in his sport. Mayweather rope and doped what Ali did against George fucking Foreman. Just lay on the ropes, wait for him to tire him out, and then you play with him, and then you beat the fuck out of him and go home, earn your paycheck.
Can I drive your mind crazy for a second? Why was McGregor the one to land the most punches on Mayweather?
Because they were dirty the most. You cannot count. Of course this counts.
No. Professional.
That's what he did. I watched it. You watched it.
Okay, but I watched it. You watched it. But professional judges counted them.
How much were missed?
We can look that up. But
it's not true.
He landed.
Then why did
He landed more punches than I think. I think.
Oh wait, he's the one that landed the most punches on Mayweather than anybody in Mayweather's whole career. Oh my God, you still fucking lost. Go back to your own sport. You can't swing with
No,
Pacquiao.
what do you have to say about that though?
What do you guys say about that?
About if that, because I'm pretty sure that is right. That's what I was gonna look up. Is that he did land the most?
And you still fucking lost. You still couldn't.
But you
hold
said rope and dope. Rope and dope.
He did.
Rope and dope concludes of a fighter making them miss before he makes them pay.
Seeing that's where Mayweather.
But he didn't. If he wasn't missing,
that's where Mayweather messed up. Where Ali didn't. Ali, he took the punches. He moved, and then went 8th round and knocked out.
Well, if we're gonna go down that path.
Championship.
We're gonna go down that path real soon.
And 15 rounds.
But Muhammad Ali also, like when he was at the age of Mayweather and he was making those risks, Muhammad Ali got beat.
What with deteriorating kidneys? He was told, let's not go out.
What about Mayweather's deteriorating hands? The only thing that fucking makes his career happen.
Oh wow! How much did he pay the other fighter to? Was that Victor Ortiz?
No, Victor Ortiz was knocked out. Victor Ortiz was knocked out in the 4th round.
Yeah, because he
turned away after headbutting him.
And turned away, and then goes, "Hey, it's okay, man. I still get my paycheck."
Turned away.
He did. He looked at the ref. And because the ref said, okay, because the rule is protect yourself at all times.
Yes.
The ref went break. And he said, okay, go, right? Ortiz turns. Blah, blah, blah. Mayweather comes in.
Are you actually going to tell me that was set up? Come on.
What?
No, you want to say it? Say it live then.
I'm not saying, what if, though?
No, it's not.
If we want to get controversial, what if? This is the first time I've actually thought of it in this way. No,
yeah, well, you shouldn't have done it live.
I have never.
It sounds like the biggest.
Well,
no, he headbutted Mayweather trying to win and got his ass kicked. That's what happened.
And see, a lot of people go, and I'm going to change it right here. A lot of people go, "Oh, Tyson's crazy for biting Holyfield's ear." Tyson was frustrated. Holyfield's such the taller fighter. How did Holyfield's head end up headbutting Tyson's chin many times throughout that fight? So every time Tyson would come in, it'd be like me and you sparring. I would drop my head and catch your chin. Tyson finally fucking lost it and bit him on the fucking ear. Probably not the way to do things.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. To him it is. So never headbutt this guy or he's going to chomp
What is it? Jorge Masvidal. Totally reasonable, or what did he say? Completely reasonable or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, we're going to move
It's
on.
fight jargon.
Okay,
y'all don't understand.
We're past 2 hours, so let's go.
Wow, folks.
Next up, we got Darren Till. And I've been waiting for this. This is my favorite thing of all night. So Darren Till is widely known for his comical actions outside of the cage and specifically on social media. He's even more well known for picking on poor Mike Platinum Perry, who we talked about a couple episodes ago before his fight with Mickey Gall, when he only had his girlfriend with very little experience, if any, cornering him. Mike Perry has blocked Darren Till on numerous social media accounts.
It's like me and Charlie Z.
Charlie Z blocked you?
He's blocked me on everything, man.
Okay, we're going to get to that. But Mike Perry has blocked Darren Till on numerous social media accounts because he keeps making new ones to bother him.
What a fucking troll.
I know. he makes Darren Till number 2, Darren Till number 3. And he keeps making new accounts to bother him and saying he's going to raw dog his girlfriend.
This guy's problem.
I love this guy. So Mike Perry is set up to fight Robbie Lawler in UFC 255. And on November 21st, like I said, they need a main event, but I don't know if this is going to be the main event of it. It could be because it's actually no, it's a pay-per-view card, so it's not going to be the main event. If it was a fight night card, it probably would be, but
it'd be my main event to see that show go.
They're set up to fight on November 21st. Mike Perry's very open about his financial situation. He has troubles with it. He was mentioned in interviews after his last fight when he was fighting against Mickey Gall. So it comes as no surprise that in his next fight he's asked any fans who want to corner him with his girlfriend, because he doesn't care who's in his corner. He just wants somebody who's going to be there to watch him and support him.
You go.
And
there you go.
He's offering $5,000. Whoever can put up $5,000. So no, it's not there we go because they cannot put up $5,000.
Oh, fuck.
So whoever can put up $5,000 to corner him, they can be in his corner.
Any of you trash talkers wanna?
Well, it did not take Darren Till very long to get wind of this because Darren Till offered Mike Perry the money to corner him, and and after it was accepted, he tweeted out, "How much money will someone pay me to throw in the towel for?"
What a fucking asshole.
So then Mike Perry's coach came back and said, "Okay, well, we're upping up the ante. I don't know if it was $15,000, $25,000. It was a lot higher than $5,000 anyways. Upped up the ante." So Darren Till then created a GoFundMe account.
Oh my god.
Which he's already generated. The last time I looked, this was over a week ago. Last time I looked, he had generated £4,000, which is almost $8,000 in Canadian currency. American currency probably $6,000. So he's generated over the $5,000 already for fans saying they want Darren Till to corner Mike Perry.
Because they want to see the minute the bell rings, or let's get it on, he throws in the towel.
Well, so, no, what I want to see, so whatever reason this happens, whatever reason this actually happens, is so Mike Perry was okay, I need the money. Darren Till's going to offer me $20,000 to corner me. And Darren Till goes in his corner. And Robbie Lawler knocks him the fuck out. Because Mike Perry's sitting there looking over at the corner and making sure that Darren Till's not raw dogging his girlfriend in the corner. This is Darren Till literally makes every fucking the highlight of every year for me when I'm reading his tweets. And then
you said he's on a roll right now.
Yeah, and then I said he's on a roll because then right after that he starts calling out Khamzat Chimaev, who is the one who's been pretty much unstoppable on Fight Island, who we're talking about, who barely had a punch landed on him.
Oh, right.
And then he goes and fights Gerald Meerschaert and knocked him out with the first or second punch he landed. Meerschaert was a high-level contender, he was a high-level veteran. So knocking out him was huge. And he basically called it every single person in the division. Nobody wanted to take a chance on him because it was more win-lose. Unless they were forced to take the fight, which obviously nobody was going to be forced to take the fight in the top 5. Darren Till was the only one who was I'll fight him. Darren Till starts posting these photos about him. And he goes, I got to just bring it up so you can actually see what I'm talking about. But he starts posting these videos about him. He's my favorite. He's my favorite. Besides,
is he your favorite trash talker?
Besides, yes, he is. But besides, what do you call it? The Black Beast. He is my favorite Instagrammer I have on my account. So he starts it off.
Derek Lewis.
Yeah, he starts it off. Basically, well, this is what he posted with Mike Perry. That's his face as Mike Perry's girlfriend. So that's what he posted.
Looks like something out of a horror scene.
And then he goes off today and he goes, because Khamzat called him out on Fight Island. So he responds, smash? Because Khamzat always says, I'm going to smash him. And he goes, smash? I fucking eat this guy. And posts a photo of them together. And then he continues to trash talk him, basically saying what Khamzat is saying in each photo, going, what? So he goes, what? And then he goes, happy Khamzat. Where he posts.
So he's riding this guy.
And then he posts another one going, strong Khamzat.
If I was him, I'd say, fuck off.
And then, what, bro? Of Khamzat giving a serious face.
Serious. Why so serious? Joker.
Anyways, Darren Till, I would love that fight, but I think Darren Till will smash him. And we'll see.
Hopefully Darren Till smashed him with all that.
You're going to be happy about this. I'm done talking. We're getting back to your book.
Oh.
You're going to finish everything. But what I do have I think you already, I don't know if you said this because I know you said the first one, but Road Warrior Animal, Undertaker, and then throne matches, robberies.
Controversial, I've changed it. Oh, well, controversial / robberies.
Okay.
Get into that.
So literally you go
I
over
will
whatever.
start with, I have already covered, folks, as you've seen, Trash Talkers, Clash of Champions. Next I'm moving on is to Death of Road Warrior Animal. He was age 60 and all I could find in what is known as natural causes. He seemed to be a healthy guy. His son, I don't know if he still plays for the St. Louis Rams or Los Angeles Rams, whatever they're called now, but he's a pro NFL football player. So rest in peace, Road Warrior Animal, age 60. To add to that, both Road Warriors have now passed. The other one, Road Warrior Hawk, died October 19th, 2003 of a heart attack. One thing I want to point out about this is one thing I got to judge WWE about. Because Road Warrior Hawk, he went through a hard problem, substance abuse problem with alcoholism and substance abuse with other drugs. So WWE actually, they still do to this day, have the nerve to write a story about, like, to where you have to act that, like, your personal life. Like, this is what you go and do to relax, and now you have to act like a fool. Like, they actually had Road Warrior Hawk, when he was alive, come up there, dressed in PJs, climb up, and act like he committed suicide. That's a little too fucking far, I think. That's how WWE is. They don't give a fuck. They still do it today. They did it. Jeff Hardy.
They pay you enough to do it.
The thing is, you shouldn't touch on someone's, like, sobriety issues or, like, personal issues. You know what I mean?
Was that his brother?
No, friend from high school. Like, they've been close buddies since high school.
So
like,
he was. They were making him do something that they knew that his friend from high school did.
No.
To himself. Or no?
No, they made Hawk.
Yeah.
Act like he was drunk and high on drugs when he would go and do that on his own time. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
So they were making the Road Animal. He was a straight-laced guy. Like, he didn't do nothing like that. But Road Warrior Hawk, he actually struggled with alcoholism and drug abuse, like I mentioned before. They made him go out there, or wrote it in their script to, you act drunk, you act high, like you're going to go kill yourself, climb up the Titantron. You act like you commit suicide, we write you off, but you actually land on a trampoline. Why would you do that to somebody? Like, why would you make their personal demons for the public to, like, everyone views like that? So, Road Warrior Hawk died October 19th, 2003 at 46.
How long was
of a heart
How
attack.
long was that after everything?
After what?
Was he still in career?
He would have been just done. Like, released from
finished his career?
WWE.
Yeah.
He would have been just released and probably hung it up.
Okay.
So that means both Road Warriors are dead. And one thing, because I've looked them up, well, watched them since I was a kid. This is my own tribute. Beginning of their theme song, some fans would know, it's "Oh, what a rush!" Rest in peace. Next, sorry.
It was loud.
Undertaker returned as Big Evil for future WWE TV. What that means to me is future WWE TV. It could mean WWE events, like televised wrestling events. To me, that means he will come back as the Dead Man. But can you see The Undertaker going on a WWE talk show and being, "Oh, rest in peace, blah, this is gonna happen"? He's gonna be Big Evil, more like Mark Calloway, the guy he is himself. You know what I mean? Like the biker kind of. That's the way he grew up. So that's, in my interpretation, that's what Dead Man gimmick could be dead for WWE TV, unless he's wrestling. If he wrestles, he will come back as The Undertaker. But this is Big Evil, just more the man himself, the man behind The Undertaker that gives his honest opinions. Oh, now this one. I've done potentially throne fights. This one is more of controversial. It's a bit off the rocker, along the same timeline, but it is the famous, if any of you trash talkers know your boxing history, Tunney versus Dempsey, the long count, the famous long count, September 22nd, 1927 at Soldier Field. And you just said you want somebody to have a fight at Cowboy Field. Well, this is the way they do it.
Cowboy Stadium. Yeah.
Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah. Conor McGregor.
What happened here, it's a 10-round fight. Dempsey knocks Tunney down in the, 7th round. Dempsey failed to adhere to the new rule of going to a neutral corner after a knockdown. 7th round. Now, why I say the new rule is because back in when Dempsey's prime, like he was still in his prime relatively, but back when he fought, you were able to knock down an opponent and stand over him until they got to their one knee and started standing up. And you could start wailing on them again. So Dempsey, after losing the first fight, he wanted to avenge his fight. He was right there. He probably forgot all rules. I want to get on him again. So the ref he would start his count and keep having to push Dempsey back and keep having to restart his count or try to keep up where he left off from.
Yeah.
From what I could see, I could be wrong. It could be 13 to 15 to 20 seconds longer than when Tunney laid on the ground. Tunney finally got up and won a decision in 10 rounds. The fight brought in $2 million today. $2 million today. First $2 million gate in history. So you gotta think of what boxers are being paid today. This is back in 1927. So this is a big
Yeah, but
deal.
I guarantee you
it wasn't worth back.
No.
Like,
I guarantee they got robbed of whatever was coming in on commission.
oh, fucking sure.
Yeah, 100%. They had no idea what that money was, and the promoters took it all.
Oh, 100%. There was like I said, I'm going to get into someone who wanted to fix a boxing match here. Tunney, another thing Tunney had beaten Dempsey 364 days prior for the belt. So just before they had the rematch, 364 days. The second fight had to be moved. We're talking about money. From Chicago because reportedly Al Capone, I'm sure all you trash talkers know who that is.
Scarface.
Yeah, exactly. Had $50,000 on Dempsey. He was a big fan of Jack Dempsey. Dempsey himself was favored in both
Why'd it have
fights
to be
from
moved,
Al
though?
Capone, huh?
Fixed?
What do you mean?
Like he had money on Capone, he had money on Dempsey, so they thought it was fixed. That's why they moved it.
Yeah. They thought he could have, because Chicago was Al Capone's. That was his. That's where he ran. So they said, let's move it just because.
But did he bet on the second fight?
I'm gonna say yeah. So he probably
They
lost
just wanted to move.
$50,000 fucking dollars. Yeah,
Right.
because Tunney won.
Yeah.
Tunney wins by unanimous decision, 10-round decision. And another side note to that, Carpentier versus Dempsey. My
So you
guy
can
was
say,
in again.
So you can say
Was the first
okay?
$1 million gate years
You can
before.
say hello to his little pockets.
You could, but
But you choose not to unless you're a
and
dork.
top. How much do I have here? I'll go 6. Top 6 boxing robberies. I'm gonna ask for your answers on this because these are all modern.
Yeah.
Test you probably have some good knowledge here. Pac-Man versus Bradley. Decision win for Bradley.
Yeah, that was a robbery.
Robbery?
Yeah, that was a robbery.
You think Pac-Man?
What was the scorecards on that? Because that one's kind of confusing me. Pac-Man versus Bradley scorecards.
Decision win for Bradley.
It was MD, wasn't it?
What's that?
Yeah. So it was Pacquiao judges scored 115. 2 of them scored 115, 113, and 1 scored 115, 113 in favor of Pacquiao. Pacquiao won
8
that.
rounds to 4 for Pac-Man.
No, it was 115, 115. Or 115, 113 for 2, and 115, 113 in favor of Pacquiao. So it was basically, what do you call that? 7 rounds to 5.
Okay, so
For
close.
the most part, Pacquiao won that fight, but it was close.
It was given to Bradley.
It was close, but no, Bradley lost that fight, so that's a robbery.
Number 2 I have. I don't know. Let's see what you say. De La Hoya versus Trinidad.
Not
De
a
La
robbery.
Hoya puts on a boxing clinic, then
Not a robbery.
coast it for
Not a robbery.
For the final rounds. Judges gave Oscar the win.
Not a robbery.
Not a robbery. Okay.
It was one of those moments where it could have went either way, but it was not a robbery in my opinion. What do you think? You think it was a robbery?
Nope.
No?
I checked on the highlights and I don't think so.
And
at
actually,
all.
Felix Trinidad was in my top 10.
You know what? I'm a Trinidad guy.
Yeah.
I've always liked him.
But Oscar De La Hoya was also almost in my top 10 too.
He was almost. I had to rule him out due to
Certain factors.
Certain
That's fine. Yeah. Cocaine.
Yeah, just leave it at drugs, folks.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. Third, this one we touched, and I know you won't give me the
Okay.
Gibson.
Just give me it. Yeah.
Mayweather versus Castillo. Many consider this fight to be Floyd's only loss. Unofficial judge had it 115 to 111 for Castillo.
Like I said earlier.
Mayweather wins by decision.
Like I said earlier, it was a close fight, but if Mayweather's gonna go out and completely fucking whoop his ass the next time, there's no conversation.
A lot of people go by body language saying Mayweather.
It doesn't matter. There's
no
no conversation.
lot of people look down at their feet when they're in the. You know what I mean?
Okay, I can agree with that, but there's no conversation when you go out and you whoop the guy the second time. Whoop him.
Just completely destroy him.
There's no conversation. If that was a close fight, that's Mayweather's fight if he whooped him the second time, especially if he got the decision. If the judges made a mistake and he went back and he lost, that's a different situation. But you're not going to sit there and argue a steal a loss when he whooped his ass the second time around.
Number 4. Mayweather versus De La Hoya.
You thought that was a robbery?
This is a controversial one because I didn't say that.
No, it was close. Again, it was very close.
Controversial one because a lot of people said De La Hoya wasn't robbed. So I'm asking you another question. Do you think he wasn't.
No, he wasn't robbed.
Wasn't robbed.
It was so close. Such a close fight.
It was.
It was early in Mayweather's career, and it was such a big step up for him.
Right.
And it was so much closer than it possibly could have been, because Mayweather could have been a better fighter than De La Hoya like a couple of years later. Far better. But in that time in both their careers, De La Hoya was such a big step up for Mayweather. And when they actually fought each other, he won.
This fight...
He won.
It
was a split decision.
I didn't...
Right?
Another
a split decision.
Yeah. Another thing, it was pretty much saying De La Hoya was passing on the torch to Mayweather. That was one thing that was...
De La Hoya fought his heart out.
He did, but
it doesn't mean you're
not passing the torch.
It wasn't a pass. A passing of the torch is like when Anderson Silva fought against Israel Adesanya, and Anderson Silva clearly was not necessarily not trying, but he was not fighting as hard as Oscar De La Hoya fought against Floyd Mayweather.
So it's pretty much, let's put it in boxing terms. Let's see if you agree. Marciano versus Joe Louis, was that
Joe Louis? Yeah,
Joe Louis
TKO'd him.
Joe Louis fought his heart out.
Yeah, but he TKO'd him.
Was that passing the torch?
No, because he got TKO'd.
Isn't that a way of saying, man, I can't do this anymore?
No.
Pass the torch on.
No, a way of saying I can't do it anymore.
It's not even fucking fighting.
Is realizing that you're losing. Before you go on, is realizing that you can't compete with the guy, but you know you can go the distance, and allowing it to go the distance, but passing on that torch of saying, hey, look, you're a better fighter than me. Continue this. Not getting knocked the fuck out.
But what if Joe Louis woke up and said, oh, fuck.
And I know what you're going to say there is like Oscar De La Hoya, but Oscar De La Hoya, there's a difference between watching a fighter.
He came back many times.
There's a difference between a difference between and he lost very badly.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. I watched that. Actually.
There's a difference between I know it's two different sports, but the difference between watching Anderson Silva clearly give up midway fight and just go, okay, this is a fighter who's better than me right now, and I'm just going to coast my way through this fight. Between that and Oscar De La Hoya clearly fighting his absolute heart out to beat Mayweather and losing. So I don't agree with passing the torch, and I don't agree it was a robbery. I agree that it was a very, very fucking close. And Mayweather has had a lot of those, but he's come out on the winning end of them, and he deservedly, if that's a word, is that a word?
Deservingly.
I said deservedly, but he deservingly has made every single one of those attempts, and he
deserved
all of them.
I don't even.
Anyways, Mayweather deserved all of those wins. He deserved all of those wins, even Castillo. And the only reason I say Castillo is because they fought again, and he knocked him. Or sorry, did he? No, he didn't knock him out, did he?
I think he referee. Was it referee stoppage? You can't watch anymore.
I hate that. That's my rant that I went on and I fucked it up. So second meeting. No, it was a unanimous decision.
Oh wow, you didn't even kill him.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. He did not, and I messed up my whole rant there because I forgot what the decision was.
It happens.
But Mayweather clearly humiliated Castillo in their second showing, and the first time around, he won very closely, and the numbers say that he lost. But it's like I said, it's different. It's different times. Like Mayweather could have been moving around like he did, and it was earlier in his career, and they're going, oh, Castillo is pressing the pace forward, and he's throwing a lot of volume and this and that. It looks like he's landing, but Mayweather like this.
Like Hatton tried.
And I understand people look at that as a losing tactic, but you can't look at it as a losing tactic if he's not actually losing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, and I'm not saying he didn't lose that first fight. I'm just saying it was so close that you cannot call it a robbery. He, especially when he went out there on his sword and he fought the same guy and whooped his ass.
Well, fucking talking about same guy. Another I didn't write down, but one I read was honorable mention. I'm gonna say now is Patman versus Marquez 3. Juan Marquez 3.
Pacquiao won most of those fights until he got knocked out in the fourth fight.
The last fight they had.
Because Marquez never wanted to fight him again. after he knocked him out.
I wouldn't want it either. You know what? Fuck it, man. I just put you like fucking
Yeah.
face down, cheek out.
After
you
had one draw and 2 losses.
Yeah, just
one draw and 2 losses, and you finally knocked him out.
And Marquez got up there. Oh yeah. If I was Marquez, I'd be we're done. I'm walking out on this.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't, but like
5th. Paul Williams versus Edison and Lara. Judges who scored this fight had to
no comment.
Go back to train on how to judge a fight. Paul Williams wins.
No comment.
Why is that?
You say Paul Williams wins.
He wins.
Okay. Comment.
What's your comment? Edison Lara should have won that fight, but Paul Williams, they gave it to him. It was a decision.
I say that Paul Williams is one of my favorite fighters of all time.
I know that. Since we were boxing together at Blue Water, you used to tell me that.
You should not be disrespecting a man who is...
I just told you Paul Williams wins. How am I disrespecting?
Yeah, because you say he doesn't deserve it, but he's in a wheelchair.
Now. He wasn't then.
But why do you got to bring up a...
Because it was in there.
Like
because it happened to be there.
That was one of your only notes in your notebook? That you had to bring up Paul Williams and put him down like that?
I knew it was your guy. How am I putting him down? I said he won.
No, you said he lost.
Williams
you said he
wins.
Deserved to lose. That's what you said.
Hey.
You got to put him down like that?
I wasn't judging that
Right
night.
After he was knocked out by Sergio Martinez, you got to say he lost his next fight instead of win?
Yeah, maybe I do.
Hey, look, pal.
Hey, pal. Oh, and this one we've already kind of talked about, Chavez versus Sweet Pea.
And we just did talk about that, and it was a draw, and I still want to know everybody's comments on like why that fight never happened for a second time.
And the black book is closed till next episode.
So, last thing we got is Charlie Z. Go ahead. And then I'm going to do my own thing on the last bit. But
see, I had nothing for this guy. Nothing. Until he finally forgot about a message that I guess he finally had noticed and responded back. What did he say? Exactly?
You tell me, yeah.
He was... I don't know why you guys are calling me out. I'm on another level. I'm on another level, he says. The only level is down here in the way beneath fucking hell. Way beneath hell. Because he fights world champions. When he gets beat up by world champions and he has stupid meth head that decides to go in and fight world fucking champions. So why is he running from me then if he fights world champions?
I don't know.
Like, that's so... I'm on another level. I am trying to tell him. He's blocked me on all accounts. But I just don't... Like, how do you say that? And, like, we got to get him on a phone call here, man.
That would be a good... Yeah.
You message him back, say, next show...
I would wipe
would you call?
I would wipe out anything that I had going on for a call.
Just for
Between
a call?
you two.
Speaker, of course. Just to hear the real trash talk from me and him go down. I've been fucking...
That would last 2 hours.
It would be the... I think we would have to make our own sub
I'd finally have
podcast.
to... I never... So, anybody who knows this, last 4 episodes, I've never made one single cut to anything we filmed or said. That would be the first time I have to cut things out.
Until then, this is uncut. Anyways, that's all I gotta say is...
Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, and fuck your crack pipe you rode in on, biatch.
All right.
Anyways,
On a final note, real quick, I'm going to plug myself. I have been completing my medicals and applications for a professional boxing license and depending on COVID restrictions, you'll see me back in the boxing ring early 2021. I hope to have all your support. For the last few years, 8 years to be exact, I've convinced myself that I wanted to live a normal life because it looks so comfortable and fun, but when you're born within your blood, You can't hide from your identity. So it's time to make a run at featherweight. Let's do this. Thank you again for tuning in to Trash Talkers. Thanks again for tuning in, Trash Talkers. We will see you again next month, UFC 255. We have no idea who that main event is yet, but we will figure it out. And we will be back to talk to you. Really excited.
Keep your hands up and chin down, Trash Talkers. See you
Cheers.
soon. Cheers, boys.